least I think that's what he said.
I heard noises on it.
So, Alan, you've got to help me make a scene with an extra virtual camera thing so I can try this trick what you do.
I think
Next time we're free, doing nothing.
Ah, there we go. We are now live to the big wide world.
Oh. Okay, so now I've got to open up another tab.
Hold 2 or 3 of them that's out there.
Now
Busy morning,
I've got to open up all these tabs. There we go. Another tab.
Oh, first world problems.
Now how do I watch? Oh, now I've got to mute YouTube.
Of course.
So I'm in the right spot on the screen, in the middle, at the top. Yep.
Did you say you have Redstream ready to go?
Yeah, I've got Reds. I've got Reds.
Oh, people!
Every day NASA, space flight, and the Reds.
Okay. You want to double check you can share your screen? Okay.
Yeah, I can. Yeah, I should be able to do that. I don't have any dramas with that sort of stuff usually.
Famous last words.
That's why we should try it now.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, it works fine all the time. Not today.
Actually found an ancient habitable environment.
No, I don't usually have problems on my computer. Which one do you want? Because the only problem is I usually do the whole 3 of them. Well, I'll put Reds up first.
You're red there.
Which one's red?
Morning, Darkman.
Live on location, is that red?
You know, Mars is the
Or
closest
is
place that we can reach with robotic exploration.
I think live on location's red? Yeah, that one.
Perseverance rover will land at a location called Jezero Crater. Jezero Crater is a very interesting place. It's a crater.
I'm really hoping that this afternoon Jose plays Spurs' latest video.
What's it about?
Well, he's basically he thinks he's proved that rockets can't work in space because of Newton's third law of motion. You know, equal and opposite and all that. Whenever he recorded it, I think he was probably tired and fed up. The sound and the editing is abysmal. He keeps sighing a lot, particularly when he has to read out technical stuff and the formulas and numbers. But just about everything he says is wrong.
Yeah.
Literally just wrong. Yeah. The third law, gravity, density, everything, even to the point where he's talking about rockets and he's showing films of aircraft that have got jet engines. It's like, right, you don't know the difference between them then, and he's absolutely certain.
So you're saying that if he set out to make a video to get things wrong, he probably couldn't have got as much wrong as he has in this video.
Correct. He put this video. There's a Skype channel called YouTube Participants, and he put this video up, and he says the main idea is that rockets fail when they try to get above 200,000 feet or so. And there's a few of us sort of going, look, you don't know what you're talking about. And
did he give a reason for why they fail?
Sherry, could you turn that down a wee bit? It's just a bit loud.
Yeah, it's his misunderstanding of Newton's third law.
Who's got this launch going now? I can hear it.
Not me.
Yeah,
I've got nothing going. Everything's muted here.
By process of elimination, Pip. That's you.
Yeah, I haven't got anything.
Because Alan's muted.
That's fine.
It's not me.
It was me. I'm
Yeah.
ready. I had the NASA one muted. I can't NASA muted. I forgot to get the.
Every time I change the screen.
Well, I might be eating a snack, so I thought I'd better.
Oh, that's fair enough. No, well, we knew it wasn't you because you were muted, so it couldn't be bleeding through from you. Yeah, Chemo said, Jose, can we play the rocket video today? It's time to end the silly idea that rockets work in space. And I come back and said, and yet there's a rocket carrying the latest probe to Mars being launched within the next 2 hours. And he said, Mars, ha 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 ha, yup, just going against everything that science says is possible and just dream it up. Mars, he says, lol. Huh, you said Mars, as in the chocolate or the light in the sky.
Good gracious.
Oh dear.
What you mean? You mean the light in the sky that I managed to photograph a couple of weeks ago?
Yeah.
That shows a phase.
Yes, that light in the sky that we've been landing probes on since the 70s.
You mean slamming probes into since the 70s?
No, the 2 Viking probes managed to land successfully. It wasn't an uncontrolled landing. It was fairly gentle. Like, they still worked afterwards.
Unlike the British one.
Mm. Yes, that was more of an uncontrolled descent, wasn't it?
Pip, can you control what you show after we share?
Yeah,
Okay,
I have to
just let me
add
know.
you. But yeah, I can see you, and then I've got you again, and if I click it, it'll add it to the stream.
Oh,
Oh.
okay. Because I've
Stop
got
sharing,
unless you've got
stream.
other windows open, because I've got two
Yeah.
other tabs here with the other.
Gary reckons that's not on his channel. Let me have a look. Has he
So
taken
you
it
can
down?
leave that running, and I can add it in when I need it in, Terry.
Okay, yeah, I'll leave it there
Do
then.
it. And I can put mine in after.
Yeah,
That's
I've
an
got to
after
pull
one.
out. I've got to pull out another tab. I think this is where a bigger
Carl, I sent you a
screen comes in
DM. Don't
handy.
shout at me. Oh, people are awake
I
outside.
need.
Shush, I'm streaming.
There you go, Gary. That's the video I'm on about.
Morning, the snark.
Good afternoon. It's afternoon now.
Also it is.
Time flies and all that.
I don't know when Red's going to start doing, probably about 5 minutes beforehand, I think.
Yeah, he doesn't go too early, does he?
No.
Because there's no point. It's just a rocket sitting there doing that.
I know sign of Professor Phil. Come on, Phil, we need you in here. We need gossip.
What you mean, like
So,
how
yeah.
he got paid to Dell?
Yeah. I've seen it on, was it Speak Truth Community? I went,
Yeah,
oh,
but
someone
Dell-
interfered and asked him, and he said, well, kind of, yeah.
Dell's done this before. He's set his entire channel private so nobody can see it. Faffed about, done some stuff, and then it magically in a couple of days all reappears again.
Reappears again, yeah.
Yeah, so I wouldn't get your hopes up too high just yet.
God damn it. So,
You mean he's just cleaning house?
Yeah, because I say, some YouTubers do this. They'll set everything to private. You know, they'll have a sort out whether they're just moving videos into playlists, deleting stuff they no longer want, blah, blah. It's a lot easier just to set everything to private, do all your faffing about, and then just set everything to public again. Boom, and it's done. So, yeah, and Dell has done this. He did it a few months ago, I think.
Yeah.
Okay, maybe within a year. I don't know. Yes, Gary. Yeah. Most of Spurs rubbish doesn't appear on his actual Spurs channel. It appears on the Under No Pressure 110% Dirt channel.
Or in my Shield videos on Discord.
Yeah. But it's strange because he posted this in the Skype chat. And I passed comment on it without watching it and said it's going to be a load of rubbish and you're a few choice words. And when I had 10 minutes, I thought, right, I'm now actually going to watch it and see if it's as bad as I thought it was. No, it's worse. It's so bad, it's comedy gold. It really is.
How long does it go for?
It's about 9 minutes, I think.
Okay.
But it does take some sitting through because it is that bad. And I'm not just talking about the content, the presentation and the sound and the heavy sighing and breathing from Spurs as he obviously gets very depressed having to read through technical stuff.
Which he doesn't understand.
And he makes it perfectly clear that he doesn't understand. There's a bit about holding something up in your hand and letting go. If you've let go, that's a force because it's dropping to the ground. So you should get an equal and opposite force pushing back against your hand. And it's like, what? What? Yeah. Most of the video will have you going, what did he just say?
If there was no downwards force of gravity and you had to push it down to do that, yes, that would be the case. But no.
No. Yes, Under No Pressure is Spurs, Pip. Yeah. But the whole point of picking up something up and letting it go, you're already applying a force insofar as you're working against the effect of gravity, and letting go. You're just letting go. You're not applying a force. There's a force already acting on it. It's called gravity.
Yeah,
And you're working against gravity and picking it up in the first place.
you're providing a force slightly greater than gravity in the opposite direction.
Correct.
Which means that the net force is a little bit upwards, which means the object actually starts moving upwards, literally.
Yeah.
And then when you're holding it there, you're exactly balancing out the force of gravity because the object's not moving anymore.
Correct.
Did anyone see Effie Dogma's video for renting?
I did just what I was just doing something down in the kitchen, and I was watching that on the laptop, and I finished watching that, and I came up here and got my orders.
And the other guy's seen it. It is amazing. I might just play it.
Okay.
Bearing in
I haven't
mind,
seen it. I haven't seen it.
Oh, you
so-
haven't seen it, right? Okay.
No, that's all right.
Flat earthers have up until now been saying, "Oh, you can't prove anything with shining lasers through a fish tank full of sugar water." Blah blah blah. So what's Ranty done?
Now he's doing it.
Doing exactly that.
Oh, okay.
And getting it wrong.
Oh yeah, well.
Here we go.
Go for it.
So I'm going to take a look at this video by Ranty, and it is titled "Thinking Experiment Crushes the Globe Rhetoric for Observations." So this is Ranty's setup. He's taken a photograph of a paint can and a ruler through a sugar water solution, and in the middle of the fish tank he has a cone-shaped object. Now, I'm really not certain why Ranty didn't compare a sugar water solution to plain water, but this was his setup. So to the existing water on the left, he added a mixture of 1,450 milliliters of sugar with 1.5 liters of water. And then for the photograph on the right, he added an additional 2,000 milliliters of sugar with 1.5 liter of water. Of course, there is increasing density at the bottom of the fish tank, and at one point Ranty did shine a laser light through it. And when you compare it to a straight line, you can clearly see that the laser light is bending downward.
No, I bugging.
Oh no!
No.
Quick, put 50p in the meter.
Oh, we're back. We're back.
No, that's usually me.
Oh yeah.
Downward. And of course, we know that downward bending light is the cause of looming. Looming is also a very simple concept to understand. So here we have an observer looking at a sailboat off in the distance with no refraction. So the light travels in a straight line. Now I've added a light path that is refracted downward. So this light path enters the observer's eyes at a higher angle. So to the observer, the sailboat appears higher than it actually is. But Randy's making the opposite claim, that the object is actually lower than it really is. So let's take a listen to Randy.
These two images were taken in different density gradients. The first image on the left was taken after adding 1,450 mils of sugar and 1.5 litres of water to the water already in the fish tank. The second image on the right was taken after an additional 2,000 mils of sugar and 1.5 litres of water were added to the fish tank. You can see that the pot I placed in the tank lines up pretty well in both images, and the cumulative effects of the density gradients have not had enough length to make the object move its visual position. Yeah. However, when you look at the tin of paint in the right-hand image, in the background, you can see that it is sunk in relative position to the pot. This proves that on a flat plane with a density gradient, distant objects will fall out of their expected positions and appear lower in the image. This very simple demonstration has proved Miles Davis and co. wrong, and proven that sinking is indeed a very real reason as to why we see things the way we do, over our wonderfully flat plane. I've been Ranty Flat Earth, and I'll see you all in the next one.
So Ranty aligned the top of the cones in both photographs. And when a straight line is drawn across the top of the can on the left, it does appear that the can on the right has sunk. The top is definitely lower. But let's take a look at a few more things in these photographs. Now, when I draw a line across the top of the number 5 in both of these photographs, we really don't see any change at all. There also doesn't appear to be any change at the bottom of the label on the paint can. But what do we have here? That mark on the piece of paper is definitely higher on the right. So that is a definite case of looming. And is this the number 6 up here in the right photograph? I mean, that number is blurry in both of the photographs, but I certainly don't see it in this area. So here's another case of looming. The bottom of the paper is also higher on the right. This black line on the left over here is also higher on the right. And we see the same thing with this dark band to the right of the cone, because over here in the right photograph, it is certainly higher too. So you got to ask the question, I mean, there's clearly real evidence of looming here, and yet in the middle, we have one example of sinking. So why is this? Now, I don't have the answer because I did not do the experiment. But one thing might be is that Ranty might have just arbitrarily used the top of these cones for the alignment. So let's try something a little bit different. So what I did is took a cutout of the photograph on the right and I moved it up slightly so that the top rim of the paint can are now in alignment. Now, of course, the cone on the right is also a little bit higher, so it has loomed up. And look at this. Now everything is loomed upward. And this is exactly what we would expect to see when we have a density gradient that is bending light downward. So all I can say is thank you, Randy, for more globe evidence.
Ranty, he's the globe earth prover. Oh dear. He's done it again, hasn't he? Bless his heart.
Yep. Well, I thought it was funny when I was going.
He's just living up to his name, isn't he?
Yeah.
The globe earth hero. Yeah.
Yeah.
Poor old sausage. Oh. Oh dear.
Colon. What was the other one you said? Colon. I lost it now.
Oh, Jose did a a very short thing.
Nathan Thompson one.
Yes,
oh, yeah, I watched that. Yeah.
Find it.
And what did tickle me is that if you watch Ranty's experiment, he measures out sugar. Blimey, I hope I shot your chair and not your back.
Yeah, that's
that's Paul.
Nice,
yeah.
right.
I've got to boil it.
When he measures out his sugar, as we all know, you measure out a solid as a fluid because he measures it out in milliliters. Oh, right, but no, hang on a minute. No, it's a solid. You'd measure that out in grams. It's like somebody asking me, how much does that steel beam weigh? Oh, about 13 gallons.
Yeah.
Yeah, what?
So he measured the volume of sugar he added.
Yeah, because what he was doing, he was tipping sugar into a measuring jug. And of course, that just tells you what the volume is, be it in fluid ounces or milliliters generally. So yeah, he was tipping it into a measuring jug and says, oh, I've got 1,500 mils of sugar. And it's like, what?
No.
No. Hang on a minute.
That just goes to show you that they really don't understand the very basics of measuring things.
Well, exactly. I mean, it is a problem I've encountered all throughout my career when, and I use this as an example every time. An architect berated me because the water tank in the hospital job weighed too much. And I said, well, it's 10,000 litres of water. That's 10 tonnes. That's 10 metric tonnes of water. Plus the weight of the tank, which I think was at least another 1.5 tons. Because, a 10,000 litre tank's quite a size.
Yeah.
because the structural engineer had sort of, I think he'd had a bit of a whinge and said, Christ, I didn't think the beams were going to be as big as that. I said, well, you've got to hold 11.5 tons of water tank up, Oh, why is the tank so big? Well, because the regulations state that in the hospital you have to have, I think, 24 hours of, if there's a cut off, if the water's cut for any reason, there needs to be, certainly back then, you had to have 24 hours supply for that particular building in the hospital. And it was 10,000 litres of water. Places like hospitals, you tend to use a lot of water. And, why does it weigh so much? I'm sorry, water weighs a lot. You can't help it. 1 litre of water weighs 1 kilogram. So 1,000 litres of water is 1 metric ton. 10,000 litres is 10 metric tons when the tank's full, plus the weight of the tank. And I had to explain it to him on 3 separate hospital jobs. Every time it was the same argument. A, why do you need so much room for all the plant? B, why does it weigh so much? Sorry, things weigh. Gravity sucks,
Yeah.
Indeed, it does.
Yes. So, yeah, there's a lot of people out there with with educations, because it takes you a long time to get educated to be an architect, and they still don't grasp the basics.
Oh yeah.
In fact, I think it's one of the professions that's got sort of the longest qualification period. I think to be a full blown architect takes you quite some time. It's quite a few years. I don't think it's quite as long as a doctor, but.
Morning, Casual.
I believe.
Afternoon.
Sorry, Casual.
No, sorry, Ellen.
I believe.
Sorry, Casual.
From graduating from university, I believe it's about 6 years before you can become a chartered architect.
Something like that, yeah. Yeah.
Sorry, Terry.
Sorry, Casual.
Sorry,
sorry, Farmer.
What? Sorry.
Well, I could give you the reaction I did yesterday in Jose's, but I don't think you'd appreciate that.
Why? What was the reaction?
I suddenly got interrupted by Rakia and Montreal, and I let them know exactly what I thought of them. It was 1 4-letter word.
Oh right, okay. What the rhymes with pluck?
No, rhymes with bunt. You're all a bunch of bunts, basically. And as soon as I said it, I dropped the call because I thought, well, Jose's going to kick me anyway. But I was just so brassed off that I just sort of, no, here we go. You're all a bunch of ping, and that was it. Gone. If there's 2 morons I really can't stand in there, it's those 2. And Jose had asked me for my opinion on right the hand, and I was trying to give it. And Montreal chipped in, and I said, "Oi, I didn't rattle your cage." And as soon as he shut up, Rakia started, and I thought, "Oh, bloody hell, not you as well."
Rakia. Oh, Rakia's on the panel these days. He used to be one of those used to hang around on the chat all the time. Didn't
Oh
he?
no, now he
panel,
comes in and say it's man this and man that and y'all and oh my lord.
Oh God.
I was listening to Jose's today and listening to Right the Hand, and oh my God. Like he said, I've got no. I measured something and no evidence of it moving. Therefore, the Earth is not moving. Like he'd gone out and measured a tree, and the tree hadn't moved, so the Earth is not moving. Like, duh.
The tree hadn't moved, so therefore the Earth is not moving.
Erebus asked him for his explanation of something, and he said, "Well, what is an explanation?" It's like, yeah, he won't actually make an argument or answer a question because all he wants to do is argue definitions. Yeah, because I think Erebus said, "What is your best evidence for flat Earth?" Well, what do you call acceptable evidence? Just answer the bloody question.
My cat is not moving, so therefore is the Earth not moving? Then it's not moving.
No, your cat's dead.
The Earth's not moving. Then
Don't give a poke. No, don't give a poke. Go for it.
Oh dear, almost did.
Is it a Norwegian
poo?
I don't know, to be honest with you.
No, it's not a Norwegian.
That's a CGI cat.
What was it? CGI. What's a CGI cat then?
You see, I took note of the fan switch in my car, and when I went back the second time, it's in the same spot. Therefore, my car doesn't move.
I mean, it was abysmal. The whole show was abysmal.
What about all those clouds moving in my video there? Does that mean the Earth is moving, or just that clouds move across the sky?
I've got some clouds out here, and oh no, hang on, oh no, that's not a cloud. That's a chemtrail. I can see a chemtrail being sprayed as I speak. The bastards.
Bastards.
That's probably over stingrays at the moment, so that's okay.
I think it's bastards. I think you meant to say, wasn't it?
No. I was right the first time.
Oh, no.
Come on, this is Pip's hangout.
All right.
Say what you like.
no, let.
Oh no, you can say what you like in here.
Well, yeah, to a certain point.
You mean I can swear?
Yeah.
Blast and bother.
It's going to be a 5-minute torrent of absolute shite now, isn't it? As he right then.
Give me a minute to think of a swear word I can say.
Okay. Continue, Liz.
Let's say, going back to the comment earlier, I guess I hope Jose never asked me what I think of Right the Hand.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's just.
Right.
Yeah. Now that I can say what I want, words fail me because it's like, where do you start? He's just such a worthless individual, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then you watch that video of him in that store where he hasn't got a mask on, and then the black woman's being racist because she's picking on me because I'm white. No, she's picking on you because you're the only idiot that hasn't got a bloody mask on.
Yeah, and no medical reason why he can't wear one.
Well, unless you call psychological issues medical.
Yeah, the anti-mask brigade. If you listen to some of them, a lot of them, I've been hearing some of them on YouTube. You know, especially the Karens, as we like to call them, are coming up with all kinds of different reasons. You know, in particular, psychological reasons. Oh, I get claustrophobic. Oh, I can't wear a mask. And also, it's reducing my oxygen levels and all that. No, it's not reducing your oxygen levels. It really isn't.
I've only found one issue with wearing a mask, and I do find that I have to breathe through my mouth because if I breathe through my nose, I keep steaming my bloody glasses up.
Oh yeah, that can be a problem. The thing to do then is to get, if you can get these surgical masks that have got like a tiny little plastic or metal strip, and what you can do.
They have. Yep, mine have got the metal strip in.
Oh right, okay, and it doesn't help then.
No, I found out this morning the only thing I can really do is pull my glasses forward down my nose so that they're well over the mask. Yep. Unfortunately, they're varifocals.
Oh,
so they have to sit in the right place because otherwise.
You have to put your head up.
Yeah, well, exactly. And it's just as bad as your bloody glasses steaming up, so you can't win.
Yeah, the other alternative is to get the next level of mask, which actually makes a seal all the way around your mouth. Which is the thing I got fit tested for the other day.
But in all honesty, at the moment, I'm only having to wear it when I go shopping. And if you do your shopping properly, you've got a list. You know where everything is. That's why I go to there's a big Asda Walmart in Milton Keynes. Nothing ever moves. It's always in the same place.
Oh, so you don't need to be able to see then. You can just work. You can just.
Well, yeah, it's not quite that bad, but it's not like when you go into your local Tesco's and then suddenly you go in and every aisle has changed and it's like, shit, where's everything gone? No, Walmart Asda in it's actually Bletchley. It's right next to the IKEA store. Nothing ever moves. I've been using that place for 4 years and the aisles never change. And you can work out, you write your shopping list and I actually write it in the order in which I walk down the aisles. Because I don't want to be asking about it. It's like most blokes when they're shopping. It's like a military exercise. You go in, you hit the place, you get what you want, you get the hell out again. I don't want to faff about.
Yeah.
Well, it wouldn't matter if the oxygen levels reduced a bit anyway, because the Karen's brains don't use as much oxygen anyway, do they?
Considering wearing this with my mask next time.
Well, yeah, you're not breaking any rules there, Alan. So yeah, why not? As long as you've got it over your nose there. There you go.
Yeah, it was over my nose. I just pulled it up just a little bit more.
Trouble is where I live at the moment. If I walk down the street in a balaclava, a few other things might happen.
You're not in an area.
It's a pigeon shooting mask. It's attached to my baseball cap.
That's class. That's very good, actually. That'll work. That'll work. There you go. What's wrong with that? That's fine.
I see a lot of paintball players wearing stuff like that when they go full sort of woods ball.
Yeah.
But yeah, if you wear stuff like that, you just get too hot when you're running around.
And thank you very much, Boggs, for the £2. That's to pay for Terry swearing, so have at it. So.
Let loose, yeah, go on, Tel.
I'll tell you what, the chat will give you £1 every time Terry swears. Go on, Terry, go for it. Go on. Go on.
Damn blasted.
No,
that's not fucking swearing. Come on, you can damn and blasted dearie me.
Damn and blasted dearie me.
Oh bother.
Oh crikey, Terry, that's not very rude.
Shall we watch this little clip for everyone?
Yeah, go on.
For anyone that's not seen it.
Trademark Miggy.
That's bullshit.
Hey guys, you want to hear a funny story while we're all chatting, dude? I'm
gonna have to fix that echo. It's annoying.
She's like so pissed for being quarantined at school that she's like, it could be. We're being lied to about so much. I'm like, right, sweet. So I'll see you tomorrow.
Meant teacher, right, Nathan? I think you left the word teacher out of that.
Yeah, first grade teacher.
Okay. Yeah, it didn't sound good. I was like,
thank you.
Yeah. First grade teacher. Hey guys, you want to hear a funny story while we're all chatting, dude? I'm dating a first grader, and I told her the earth's flat. She's like so pissed for being quarantined at school that she's like, it could be. We're being lied to about so much. I'm like, okay, sweet. So I'll see you tomorrow.
Meant teacher, right, Nathan? I think you left the word teacher out of that.
Yeah, first.
Made a joke about dating a first grader.
Okay.
Yeah, it didn't sound
just
good. I
making
was
sure.
like,
Thank you.
Yeah, I was about to double check. Whoa. Hey guys, give me a break here, dude.
Boy, that's not a soundbite they would use. Nathan, it's not like they would use that soundbite or anything, would they?
Yeah, they would.
Sorry.
Sorry, I'm so tired. I've been busy
Dear
screaming at
Lord.
kids all day.
Can you hear me? Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, that didn't happen. Continue.
Yeah, sorry, it did.
Did I just hear him right making a joke about dating a first grader? What age is first grader in the States?
No, he didn't date a first grader.
No, but he's making a joke about dating a first grader.
Well, he did actually
No.
say a first grade teacher.
Oh,
But
first
he-
grade
he-
teacher.
but he did sort of say, "Oh, well, I'm dating this first grader," and then I think it was actually QE. He said, "You do mean first grade teacher, don't you?" Oh, yeah. First grade is what, 5?
Well, that's what I mean.
Isn't that your first year at school? So you're 5.
I mean, what sane people makes jokes? Oh, for fuck's sake.
Yeah, but he's dating a first grade teacher. So you've got somebody who's teaching 5-year-olds. Their first teacher thinks the earth is probably flat because they lie about everything else. Boom, boom.
Yeah, I know.
This is the thing. You've now got people, in a position of authority and responsibility to children who believe this crap. You've got idiots like Riley who want it all to be part of the school curriculum. Well, it sounds like in several places it damn near already is, because you've got teachers who are flat earthers.
Well, I mean, why? I mean, the thing is, that goes against the grain of what he's talking about, because he says the whole school system the world over are all lying to us.
Yes.
So therefore, she's been lying as well. So why is she dating him? Or why
I
is
don't
he dating
necessarily
her?
know she is a flat earther. At the bit of the clip, he says she knows I'm a flat earther, so I don't think she is.
Oh, I don't
She
know.
needs a bloody brain
It sounded
exam.
like she'd got the potential to be a flat earther, because she basically said, "Oh well, because they lie about everything else." And this is why I think a lot of people are flat earthers, because they've got it into their head that the government, scientists, everybody in a position of authority are lying to you. So therefore, if they're telling us, "Look, we're putting rockets into space and the Earth is round," by extension, that's a lie as well. because everything that they hear from people in authority, according to them, is a lie.
Yeah.
And of course, they're all saying, well, of course the Earth is round. Of course it's a rotating ball of rock in space, etc., etc. Well, by extension, that must all be a lie as well. And then you get poor sods like Brandon Toy who think, oh, they're hiding stuff from us. You know, there's more land beyond Antarctica and all the rest of it. Or maybe the Earth's bigger than we've been told, and there are secret lands that we don't know about. And it's all of this conspiracy and being lied to nonsense.
Well, according to Red's doohickey thing there, it's 28 minutes. And according to NASA, there's 16 minutes. So...
Well, according to the countdown I'm looking at, it's in just under 4 minutes.
Yeah, I've got 3 minutes and 56 seconds.
Yeah, same here.
NASA might have... Okay.
Somebody else.
Yeah, okay.
Unless it's been delayed because there were some weather worries a couple of days ago.
No,
you've got everyday astronaut, Pip, haven't you? Ready to go.
No, but NASA.
Yeah, you're better off. Yeah, everyday astronaut's good, but he tends to witter on a little bit.
Well, I can definitely see 20. You maybe need to forward Red's on a wee bit.
I got NASA's space flight as well here.
Well, I'll share mine.
I can swap.
I've got the NASA feed, and the countdown is just under 4 minutes.
Yep.
And that's the actual NASA feed with 195,740 people watching. Ooh, we're at 3 minutes 45. Great. They've put the NASA logo over the time.
I know. I know.
Oh, wait. Oh,
320 some, 325, 324, 323, right.
But bear in mind, this is all impossible because Spurs says so. Rockets can't work in space because they violate Newton's third law of motion. So
no,
this is all. No,
they prove it.
Yeah, I know. Yeah,
I know you know that.
We know that. Go and watch his latest video. It's hilarious, and not just because of the technical content. The presentation is stunning. But yeah, he says they can't go above about 200,000 feet because rockets can't work in space. Oh, I wonder why we use rockets to launch things in space.
Well, here's the vision of flat earthers. You see, they think that you take a rocket and it just burns its engines all the way to wherever it's going, i.e. Mars. So that's what they're going to think. They're going to think that thing that we can see on the launch pad is going all the way to Mars. And like one of the arguments I had time and time again, how dare they have so much fuel to get to Mars? No.
Yeah, they get this misconception that the rocket is burning all the way there.
Yeah. No, exactly.
Just imagine what speed it would be doing by the time it got to Mars if its rocket was burning all the way. And it's like, right, we've got to Mars. Oh, there goes Mars. Bye. Right. Yeah. What's in our way next? Because you just have to wave and say, bye, there goes Mars.
Well, it's either that or you just go kaboom onto the surface at, I don't know, how many thousands of miles an hour, whatever.
Christ, yeah.
I think the problem is that if you actually left the engine burning, you would eventually reach the point where relativistic effects would bugger it up.
Yeah. Oh, I'll get that with you.
That'll be fun, Reg.
Just under a minute to launch now, then.
I can't get my little doohickeys any smaller than that. I can't seem to not
I'm
use
still
them.
showing.
Anyway, this is an Atlas V rocket, by the way, from ULA, if you haven't noticed.
120, 190.
Yeah, it's not a SpaceX. Boring. There's no boost. There's no booster landing. Boring.
No booster landing. No. No, ULA have got no plans for that at least in the near future. They're quite happy doing what they're doing.
Red is still at 24 minutes, according to Terry. I think you might need to speed on Red a bit.
40 seconds.
How long the battery has left in the camera?
Right, let me go to Red's live stream. What's he showing?
We're ready to go.
Yeah,
30 seconds.
We don't see that venting.
The NASA one's got a better view.
Put flight pressure into the tanks, and as we just heard, they're stable at step 3, which means the tanks are ready to go. And here
20
in about
seconds.
5 seconds, we will
28
hear
seconds.
the team
ECS reduced for launch.
give their final go.
25 seconds.
Status check.
Yeah.
Go
Yeah,
Atlas.
red
Go
stream is
Centaur.
battery life.
Go
10
Mars
seconds.
2020.
There we go. We are ready to go lift off this morning, Joshua.
Oh, you're a bit behind.
That's clever. It's already launched on reds. There it goes.
There he goes.
8, 7, 6, 5, 4. Engine ignition. 2, 1, 0. And liftoff. As the countdown to Mars continues, the perseverance of humanity launching the next generation of robotic explorers to the Red Planet.
Can't believe they chose Perseverance. What a boring name.
And Atlas TU has gone to closed loop control.
If I had these whole 4 windows open at the same time on my screen, I could have just shared the whole screen and we could have watched the whole 4 of them at the same time.
Oh, that's all right. This is fine. I mean, you get a good different views from between astronomy and reds.
Mm.
Well, you can't even see astronomy lights.
Yeah, I've got I've got 3 of them open at the same time here. 4.
Astronomy's just lost it.
He's not had much luck. Uh-oh.
Oh, there he is. Oh, you nearly had it.
Yeah, Reds is tracking pretty well, but poor old Astronomy, he's all over this shop, isn't he? Oh, come on. Oh,
catch up. There you go.
No. Oh, God, can't.
Oh, now it's
pressures remain.
There
nominal.
we go. He's got it
pump
now.
Speed
He's
and
got
fuel
it.
injector pressures are responding well to demands on the engine.
I'm switching over to the cell
Standing by
phone
for
NASA.
SRB burnout shortly.
You got a good close up of the one on NASA.
Yeah, I've put NASA back on. Astronomy Live.
And we have
Astronomy
burnout on
Live
all
not
4
had much luck
SRBs. Burnout
recently.
pressure signatures look good. Standing
Yeah,
by for
Astronomy
SRB
Live's got the
jettison
same
shortly.
as that one. NASA seems to be the better one.
Well, I hope you're not watching this, Spurs, because it goes against everything you believe in.
I hope he is watching it.
And we have good
he
indication of SRB
knows
jettison
it.
of
He
all
knows
4
it works.
SRBs.
He knows the Earth isn't flat, really.
And the vehicle
I
has
know.
gone to closed loop guidance.
He's a complete troll.
Yeah, but farmers, the rocket's going
Vehicle
down
body
at the
rates are
moment.
responding normally. At the
Oh, yeah, that's right. Yeah, it's coming
Yeah,
back
look,
down now.
look, see, look at it. It's
coming
going
back
down. It's going down
It's
again.
going
Look.
It's going to land out in the ocean.
This is what gets me about flat earthers. When it's not perspective, they go, "Oh, it's due to perspective." When it is the effects of perspective,
And coming up on
they'll
2.5
use
minutes in
every
flight.
excuse. But
The RD-180 is throttled down slightly as expected. Engine response continues to look good.
and we can all
This
see how
time,
high
vehicle
Brandon
is,
just said it's
80
bounced
miles
off
in
the
altitude,
dome. You can see debris.
85 miles downrange, traveling at 6,000 miles per hour.
So they always say it's always curved. It always curves down. Why does it always curve down? Because the Earth's curved, you moron.
Yeah, and it's not actually
Sensor
down;
reaction
it's still
control
curving
system is now
up.
pressurizing the
Exactly.
flight.
Yeah.
Right, astronomy can't see it, but red still can just about. It's
Okay,
it's
back
a
to
bit of a
NASA.
dot, but it's there. Yeah,
Oh, we've got
it's
some
too
good,
far.
And just
pictures.
past 3 minutes
Got some
into
good
flight,
pictures
the
from
RD-180 is now
NASA.
throttling to maintain a constant
Have a look.
2.5 G acceleration
There you
limit
go.
for payload bearing jettison. Engine response and vehicle acceleration look good.
Look out for mice.
Ferrets, isn't it? I thought it was ferrets.
Yeah, I thought it was ferrets.
don't think they put any cameras on the engines for these launches, do they?
Oh,
Oh, they
just
are
lost a,
not the engine. No.
we
They
just
go to
lost a
fairing
part.
shroud.
And we have good
There
indication
you go.
of payload bearing jettison and
Yeah,
Centaur
that's the fairing.
forward load reactor deck jettison.
Are they going to catch them?
No.
Fairings?
No.
And the RD-180 is throttled back.
No,
throttling back up to
they're
attain
too
a
high up.
4.6
They'll burn.
G acceleration. Engine response continues to look good.
What's that altitude? Is that miles or
And
kilometers?
Centaur has begun the boost phase chill down
imagine it'd be
sequence to
kilometers,
thermally
I think.
condition the RL-10 for operation.
It's miles.
can't see.
300 miles in 4 minutes.
Oh, there you. Oh, yeah.
There you
That's
go.
Standing
So
by for
yeah, I mean
shortly.
they're already higher than the ISS, so those shrouds they'll just burn up. They'll burn up in the atmosphere.
Oh, for sure. Yeah. Yeah.
They've
The
got-
velocity
they've
of that
got-
at the moment as well.
I mean,
Why don't
when
we set
SpaceX recover
And we
their
have
shrouds,
eco
their
booster
shrouds
engine
come off
cutoff, standing by for
way
stage
low.
separation.
Why don't we see footage from the ISS as the rocket goes past?
Oh, there you go.
We
Look,
have
that's
good
a robot.
indication
That's
of Atlas
great.
Centaur separation.
There you go. First stage set.
So there you're seeing live footage.
And we
from
have
the
Mach
rocket.
1, RL-10 operating parameters.
Let's see why the ISS is at the moment.
Oh, look at
chamber
that. See
pressure
that engine gimbaling, look.
Yep.
Nice.
Fake.
This will be the first of 2 burns for today's mission. This first burn will be approximately 7 minutes in length.
Don't you mean CGI?
So, Mick, that's pretty exceptional footage there. That's live video. We will see that switch over shortly into an animation that kind of helps let us know what's happening with the rocket. But right there, a beautiful liftoff. Fun to feel that rumble in the building here as we proceed towards orbit and then towards Mars destination.
Yeah, absolutely.
Oh, look
It's
at
great,
the
watching
chemtrail
an
left
on-time
behind.
lift off of the Atlas V with that a little over 2 million.
Actually,
pound
looking at where the
thrust,
ISS is at the
cleared
moment,
tower in roughly 5 seconds.
at the moment,
Josh
I think
and
it's about
worked
half
the
over
Insight
Egypt.
mission, and if you recall,
So
that
they
mission
might
on the West
actually have
Coast
stood a
took
good
about
chance of
17
seeing it.
seconds to get past tower. So with those 4 solids today, this thing really got out of here. And on
Yeah,
its
it'll
way.
be a little tiny white blip.
As we hear from
Oh,
Jesse,
yeah, I know. But
everything's looking nominal.
Better
Haven't they got their P1000s? They can zoom in and bring it back.
within the design limits.
Yeah.
We're getting ready to come up on main
sending some
start
crap
our
camera
first
like a
burn that Jesse's
P1000
talking
up to the
about.
ISS. Yeah.
Yeah, so recapping this countdown to Mars, the stations begin to be filled up this
You
morning.
won't see that on their wall of cameras, I tell you.
Preparations, fueling, powering up all the way through that liftoff that happened.
I've actually heard somebody actually say that, why can't NASA let a flat earther put a camera on one of their rockets? They won't let us. They won't let us. You know, I can imagine like someone, one of the flat earthers, like emailing NASA, you know, every now and again. Please can you put a camera on your rocket?
How they did some of their work, you know, made adjustments as needed. A lot of cleaning, a lot of things, a lot of wearing their face masks, doing all kinds of things. And so this is exciting.
So yeah, I could just see one of them trying to strap a P1000 with duct tape to the side of the rocket or something.
And for the
Yeah.
So this is exciting to see. We still have
Duct tape and a couple of cable ties, that'll be all right.
Yeah, we had a really
She'll be
quick
right.
countdown today, which is phenomenal.
She'll be right.
That we got
She'll
off
be
the
right.
ground on time. And we are proceeding now that we are in the middle of the first burn. It's tough to make out, but that engine is lit and it's firing. So we are in motion. There you go.
Oh,
There's
that's
that
definitely
animation.
CGI.
Telemetry
Yes.
there as we switch to a teacher's compatible data format.
Yes, because they didn't launch a rocket alongside this one just to film it.
The space
Well, then
tracking
again, that
system,
could be the footage
so
from
there
the
you go.
ISS.
This is not an actual video, but this is animation.
Yeah, now I can say that that's
So,
CGI
although we're
because
not
it is.
actually seeing the engine on screen right now.
But see that bit at the top, see that sort of browny goldy colour? That's actually the heat shield for entering the Mars surface, that Mars atmosphere.
Via the TDRS network, as you
Yeah.
mentioned.
So that goes, yeah, that's it, that bit there.
That's watch what's going on and make sure all their sequence of events meet their timeline. We continue on a nominal flight this morning. This first burn, as we heard earlier, will be about 6 minutes. This will
So
get us
pretty much
into
from that grey bit
our
onwards,
orbit
that's the
around
bit that's just going to go
allow us
off to
get,
Mars. So
on
basically, it's
our
on
way
its right
and then
trajectory
get into that
to Mars.
approximately 30-minute coast
Patch,
period
yeah,
that we're
from
going
that
to
grey
have.
bit onwards.
Beginning to see the Centaur PU.
What I can't wait to see is the rover filming the helicopter.
Seeing very stable.
Oh, yeah, that's going to be awesome.
That's going to be so cool.
It's it's like a little drone with it's like a dual blade system on it, and they're going to start off with tiny little hops first of all. They're going to little hover the helicopter about 2 meters and land again. It's going to get a bit higher, a bit further, a bit further. You know, just testing it out to begin with. But eventually, they're going to have several.
It's a set of contra rotating blades. They do that on some helicopters because that obviates the need for a tail rotor.
That's the word I was looking for. Contra rotating.
Contra rotating. There's several different ways of helicopters can do that. If you don't want the tail rotor, but contra rotating is probably the takes up the least amount of room, which of course is very important with this. It's all down to packaging, isn't it?
Yeah.
They did experiment. I don't know whether they still do. They experimented in the 80s and 90s with military drones that were pretty much the size of a dustbin, and they had contra rotating rotor blades. But they tend to use more conventional sort of aircraft design drones these days.
Oh, wow.
Even the ones you can just launch with your hand.
20 mission that was needed
obviously they won't stay up for hours and hours like the big buggers do. You know, the big predator drones will stay up there all day.
I think these ones are about the size of a football, give or take, except for it's a square sort of
Plus, of course,
blades on it. Yeah.
This drone, this helicopter, was the one that all the idiots sort of said when they were testing it. Oh, look, it's got a cable holding it up.
Yeah.
Yes, that cable is simulating the reduced gravity on Mars. Duh. It's not designed to work in 1G. It's designed to work in Martian G, which I think is about a third, isn't it? Isn't it about a third that we get here?
Yeah, it's not. Yeah, it's not vastly different. The main problem is not so much the gravity; is the Mars atmosphere is much thinner, so therefore it's getting the lift on the blades. So hence the reason for the what did you call it? The contra rotating blades.
Yes, you've got two sets of blades, one above the other. One goes in one direction, one goes in the other, and that cancels out the torque. Because if you picture a conventional helicopter with one set of rotor blades, if they're turning, the engine wants to turn the helicopter the other way round.
Yeah,
that's why helicopters have a tail rotor. It's to stop the whole helicopter spinning the other way.
Yeah,
which is why if you watch something like Black Hawk Down, when the helicopter takes a shot to the tail and it loses the tail rotor, it starts spinning because there's nothing to stop it counter-rotating.
Yeah,
the blades turn one way, and the engine and the helicopter and everything else want to turn the other way. When you lose a tail rotor, that's what tends to happen. So you can get rid of all that by having two sets of blades turning against each other. That cancels.
If you show me screen, Pip, I'll show an image of the helicopter with the counter-rotating blades.
And also the blades on this particular one have to rotate really quickly. I can't remember what it is, but it's something like 4,000 RPM, something. There it is. There you go.
Yeah,
about 4,000 RPM.
And I think the actual blades themselves have got a thicker cord because of the reduced atmospheric density. There's less air to work with, so I think they're thicker than what you'd see here.
Wouldn't the pitch angle be different too?
Yeah, yes,
probably. Yes. Well, yeah, you change the cord of the blade, the pitch angle. It's specifically designed to work in those conditions. It really wouldn't. It wouldn't work very well here because here's so much different.
I mean, one would expect them to look somewhat like the blades on a high altitude propeller-driven aircraft, which tend to be fairly short and fat.
Yes. Yeah, they have a much broader cord to them, don't they? They're a much thicker, I suppose, is probably the best way of describing it. A deeper blade to get a bigger scoop of air. You know,
the cord thickness will be bigger, and the cord length will be bigger. So the width of the blade is bigger, and the thickness of the blade is bigger.
There's something I think equally more exciting actually on the Perseverance as well. Moxie. Moxie, they're gonna turn the Mars atmosphere into oxygen. That's what we're gonna do. And that's kind of essential. There's one particular they're only going to test this one technique, which they think is going to work the mess. So it's very small system, but basically all it is if this one works, it's just a case of just scaling up to much larger. So therefore, if you can produce oxygen. Obviously, humans can breathe. They can produce rocket fuel, liquid oxygen, for to launch off the surface again. So that's also going to be essential. So really, if Moxie works, we could, and I do say really inverted commas. I'm very skeptical exactly when they're going to be able to send men to Mars, but that could really sort of put things forward a little bit if it works. So yeah, it's going to be essential.
Right, so how long is this thing going to take to get to Mars?
It's due to land, I think, in February of 2021.
Well, we're staying live on the Hangout.
No, we are not. No.
So about 6 or 7 months.
Sam Camp says he's still alive till it lands. Nah, don't think so.
Not only that, European Space Agency are going to be launching theirs shortly. China have already launched theirs as well. So there's actually about 3 different rovers heading to Mars this week.
So I figure by all that then, because the orbit of Mars and Earth. We're obviously at that point where
Exactly.
Mars is closest, or getting that way. Yeah,
every couple of years or so. Yeah,
that's right. Yeah, I know there's always windows. I mean, they explain that quite well if you watch The Martian. Quite a lot of that. Quite a lot of that film was interesting. I know an awful lot of it was sort of, not really, mate.
Questionable.
Questionable, yes. But I'd say the book's much better because I read the book first.
Question for you, Catherine.
So what's that?
Question for you. Is this the one where they've taken folks' names to Mars?
Yes, it is. Yes.
Gary says, yay, because he's on there.
Yeah.
Gary, you're on your way to Mars, mate.
Yeah, likewise as well. Both my real name and also my my YouTube name, both are on its way.
Oh well, give us a wave once you get there.
Yeah. So I got my boarding pass. I'll have to. Oh, it's on my other
You're
computer.
on your way to a light in the sky.
A pale orange dot or red dot.
Yes.
Pale blue dot. Pale orange dot.
Fourth rock from the sun.
There we go. Morton says, will it show up? Spurs put by Red's live stream. That was amusing.
Did he really?
Did he now?
I bet he had absolutely nothing to add to the conversation whatsoever except for derp.
It'll just say, "Oh, it's all fake. It's all CGI." What's your evidence? No evidence. You know, you push it for evidence. He hasn't gotten, as always.
But what's it pushing off?
Oh, here was one of Spurs' other comments earlier on. Me and Rumpus were having a bit of a pop at him, and he said, "How on earth, Rumpus, can something fly in a vacuum without a container? Do you even understand what science is and how it is used?" This is coming from Spurs. Yes, we do, Spurs. It's you who don't understand, you numpty, or pretend you don't understand.
Yeah,
it's probably more accurate.
Is it me or is this gone out of focus? I don't know. Maybe it's me.
No, it has. It's like somebody's just dropped it down to potato cam.
Oh yeah. It's on the live stream. It's gone a bit blurry. Pip.
Yeah, I think nothing I can do. I don't think.
Weird.
Lack of data, I would think.
Data. I must have clay farm to make bricks, or something like that.
Nothing else in the I've only got Chrome open, so I don't know. So when's this next second stage going to happen?
I'm not sure. Soon, I should think. I don't know.
Don't know. That could take a while.
Yeah.
Oh, that's it. Data. I cannot make bricks without clay. The great Sherlock Holmes in the first one, I think.
No, you've lost me there.
The first Guy Ritchie Sherlock Holmes movie with Robert Downey Jr. And
didn't see.
Oh, you mean not real Sherlock Holmes?
I think he did a very good Sherlock Holmes because it's actually a little bit close to some of the novels. If you read the Sherlock Holmes novels, Sherlock Holmes was a boozer and a bare-fisted boxer, and there's an awful lot of that.
And a very good single stick player, and yes. I have the complete works.
Oh no, I haven't. No, the X has got them. Fucker.
Gravity, can I just ask you a question? It's very technical and very. I hope you can answer it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, why are you wearing a coat? Are you cold?
It's freaking winter here.
Hey?
It is cold here. Yes.
What's your temperature there then? It's about 15 degrees, is it? It's
I don't know at the moment. Have a look.
If it's about 15 degrees, that's a heat wave for us.
No, I'm pretty sure it's colder than that.
Oh.
Here at the moment.
You're not in single digits, are you?
Yeah, probably are.
I've got blue sky, wispy white clouds, and 23 degrees.
Yeah, a bit overcast here.
No, it's good. I'm hoping tonight should be able to see the ISS, and unbelievably, this tonight, if it stays like this, will be the first time that Stingray will hopefully get to see the ISS, because he said yesterday, "I've never seen it before." I was like, "What?"
It tells me it's 7 at the moment, 7 Celsius.
Oh, you are in single digits.
Yeah.
That is freezing for you, isn't it?
Yeah.
Well, that's bloody cold for us as well, to be honest. 7.
Well,
isn't
yeah,
exactly,
it's not.
oh, hang on a minute, I'll take my jumper off. I'm sweating. You know.
Yeah. No, that's
Well, it
just
depends
like
what
fridge
time of the year
temperature.
it is.
It's going to get down to 1 overnight, apparently.
It's about a temperature for a fridge, isn't it? It's usually about 5 or 7, somewhere around there, isn't it?
About 4.
About 4. No, not far off it then.
Yeah,
not far off it.
Yeah. Mostly sunny 22.
I'm at 23, and Silverstone should hit a high of 26 at 4 o'clock this afternoon. And it looks like it's going to stay that way. Oh, blimey, I've got a high of 30 degrees tomorrow. Let's go rain on Monday, and let's go get all nice again. Yay.
Is it a legal requirement in the States, or at least some states of the United States, to wear a mask anywhere you go outside?
Yeah, why is he wearing a mask? I mean, he's out in the middle of bloody nowhere.
Yeah, well, exactly. I don't know. Where maybe in
Yeah,
Florida.
but he is with a film crew, isn't he?
Yeah, but
as long as he's
if
2 meters away.
2 meters away, you know. Well, they're outside. Good grief. It's as bad as I'm seeing more and more people now are driving their car on their own wearing a mask.
Yeah.
It's bizarre.
Well, I mean, it's the same with people here. It's just like, you know, I'm kind of living on the edge of kind of countryside in the town where I am, and there's a little road where you walk along, and it's, you know, there's just nobody around quite often when you walk down this road. People walk along the path wearing a mask. Then why are you wearing it? What's the point where you are now? When you get in the shop, yeah, wear it by all means, but it's not floating around in the atmosphere. It just isn't.
I mean,
to that.
It's like we went shopping this morning. I pull up an Asda's car park, and then I put the mask on in the car because they're in the glove box, and I might as well do it there and then. Yeah, put your mask on, go in, do your shopping. As soon as you come outside, take the mask off because you don't need it now. You're outside. There's nobody about.
Oh, I'll have to find this YouTube clip, and it's of a male driver pulls up behind a Karen. And she eventually gets up beside him and says, "You're supposed to stay 2 meters away from me."
I saw that. Yeah.
And his
car. She had to wind the window down to have a go at him. It's like, put your window up, you stupid bin. Honestly.
But like he says, I'm driving a car. But the thing is, like, you've got the distance of like from him. In the driving his car in this driver's seat, where she is in the driver's seat, it's a bit more than 2 meters.
Yeah.
She thinks it's got something to do with the car, like they're going to transfer a virus between the cars or something. It's like,
well, I bet if it's a halfway modern car, I mean, even mine is. It's got a pollen filter in it. So if your windows are closed and your vent system's drawing air in from the outside, it's going through a pollen filter. So that would probably have some effect on it anyway. But
I bet you if she sort of bumped into her from behind, you know, like a little tiny fender bender, you know, you sometimes get in traffic, you get like these little bumps and things like that. She's probably going to go home and sterilize herself because she probably thinks she's contaminated.
Yeah, I
just see her maybe washing hands and washing herself.
I think I saw that in the Twitter feed or something, and it's just like, oh, that's unbelievable.
Yeah,
wind your window down to have a go at somebody because they're not wearing a mask. It's like, hello.
Yeah. It's about you're supposed to stay 2 meters away from me, and you're not wearing a mask.
Oh dear. But Ex Penguin makes a good point. He says, I presume it's supposed to say mask, not mail. I wear the mask all the time, but I drive for Royal Mail. Easier than taking it on and off all the time. No, I can, behind that 100%. Otherwise, it's just a pain in the ass. It's on, off, on, off, on, off, But, you know, if you're going out with the express purpose like I was this morning, drive to Asda, go and do my shopping. You park your car, you put your mask on, you go in, you do your shopping, you come out, you take your mask off, and I throw it in with all the shopping. So when I get home, I can just throw it in the bin, and it has to go in the bin because it can't be recycled. But how much of a drag is that? Yeah, like I said, the only pain in the arse is every now and then it steams your glasses up. Whoop-de-doo.
Well, I mean, just you know, feel sorry for the doctors and nurses and things like that working in the wards and the A&E and all the rest of it. They have to wear them all day long, quite often 12, 14, 16, 18-hour shifts. They have to wear this stuff all the time. Not only a mask, they have to wear a visor, hat, overalls and all the rest of it, and particularly in those, if they're in a red zone, the real masks that fit snugly around the face and make a seal and all the rest of it. They have to wear all that all day long, and people are complaining, it reduced my oxygen levels, I might die.
Yeah.
That's ridiculous.
I do feel it for the nurses. I mean, when I do the odd, I'm not doing that much work at the moment at St John's, and when we do transfers, I have to wear that stuff maybe sort of like an hour and a half at the tops. By the time we drop off the patient to the next hospital, and I must admit, it can get a little bit claustrophobic because you've got a visor down as well, and when it's hot, it's horrible. It's not very nice.
Well, they've got a shortage of ambulance people over here, casual.
Have they?
They've a lot of ambulance people are getting sick, and so what they're doing is they're training the army to be drivers and stuff, so that they can at least drive the ambulance, so they can have more people.
Well, you've got
in the back.
You got St John's over there. I'm sure they're doing their part, aren't they?
Yeah, St John's is more a first aid type thing here.
Well, I mean,
in Victoria it is anyway. I don't know whether it's like that in other states, but in Victoria, St John's isn't really a prime ambulance.
They don't have ambulance
provider.
Well, I mean, we train to a level eventually, for ambulance crews. I mean, I'm trained to a level where I can actually do patient transfers. I'm starting a course on Saturday where I can be trained up as a full crew. And actually, we're all being upskilled throughout the whole UK to actually be pretty much do what a paramedic can do, but at least an ambulance technician can do, except for the amount of drugs that we can actually give. There's a lot of drugs we can't do because we.
Yeah, they have a similar sort of system here where they have what they call community ambulance officers, where, like for instance, in Nil, there's an ambulance station that's manned, but it's only got one ambulance person on at a time. And what will happen is when they get a call out, the ambulance person will also, or the dispatch will also send out a signal to the casuals who have got pagers, and they'll come along and assist. They might drive the ambulance, or they might, they're allowed to do certain procedures, but they're not allowed to administer. They're only allowed to administer certain drugs like, salbutamol and stuff like that. But not the higher order stuff where you have to have a bit more knowledge. Yeah.
It was same with us. We can give Entonox, and we can give things like ibuprofen, codeine, and something else, and a couple of others I can't remember off the top of my head. But that's about
Oxyfluorine.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, but we unfortunately can't put anything intravenously unless I've actually got, because quite often in our ambulance crews we have an HCP, a healthcare professional. That'll be a doctor, a nurse, or a paramedic, in which case they can. We've got quite a few HCPs actually with St John's, which is good. So they always try and put a crew on, if we got an emergency crew, to have an HCP, because then they can give IV drugs.
And in other towns, like in a small town where I lived and worked once, they have an ambulance station, but it's not manned. There's just an ambulance there, and it's provisioned, and they just have the community ambulance officers there and on the pager, and they get called in and they get paid for the work they do. But if it's a serious call out, like a heart attack or something like that, or something that's a bit life-threatening, possibly, they'll call the next town, Nil, which is 40 kilometres away, as backup. And so what you might have to do is go pick up the patient, do primary treatment, as best you can, and then the Nil ambulance will meet you on the highway halfway between the towns, and if necessary, take over, or the Nil person will jump in your ambulance and you just drive. So that
sounds a little bit like the we call them retained fire brigade crews here as well. With basically they do their jobs locally, whatever it is. Whenever there's a call out, they come to the fire station. That's a bit like ours, just down the road here. We've got one.
One of the places I worked at Milton Keynes, one of the welders down on the factory floor, he was the same, and that was all cleared through the company, because he'd get a text message or something, and it'd just be a case of drop everything, go. Wallop. Because
it's quite interesting.
You have to work within a certain distance of the fire station. You know, you can't.
Yeah,
that's right. Yeah, literally within a few minutes. It's like you want to walk past, because to go into town, we've got to walk past the fire station, and there's been a call out, because when you go past there in the car park, all the cars are all parked at weird angles and different places.
They haven't had time. It's just a case of get out, dump the car, wallop.
Yeah, I've seen them coming in before. They literally just drive in. I don't know, like a hell of a pace, screech. They sprint into the fire station. Get all the
it's like that here when the lifeboat goes off.
Yeah,
you can hardly get up the street because you have to park on the road.
Oh, you can't beat the smell of a good book.
That's true.
It's a bit random, wasn't it?
No, it is. But the postman's just been, and I thought, right, I'll just have a quick look through this. Forgotten Archives 3, the Lost Signal Corps photos. It's basically a book with lots of photos of tanks, strangely enough, and it's just like, oh yeah, oh that smell.
I do know what you mean. I like the smell of it.
Kindle's brilliant, but you don't get the smell of a good book through a Kindle,
So it's got lots of 10,000 gallon and 5,000 gallon tanks.
Not those sort of tanks, no.
He's taking the piss out of you.
Yeah, I am.
Here we go. The first picture of a tank, a Tiger from 3rd Panzer Abteilung 504, photographed on Strada Providenciale 11 en route to Niceni, Sicily. The rear of the turret was taken an anti-tank round that undoubtedly caused casualties to the crew. Yes, I should think it did. There you go. So most of these will be photos of knocked out tanks.
Yeah, you wouldn't want a tank with a hole in it. You get a leak.
No, that's short. Oh, that one.
If you go onto if you quickly flip to the NASA.
Just about to. They're showing you the road. Yeah.
Yeah, they're showing a mock-up of the rover, and it really gives you an idea of the size of it. It's bigger than you think.
Oh, and a shout out to Sam Cam, who says tanks a lot. That's the company up the road from me that sells tanks. It's the guy who found gold bars in an ex-Iraqi tank. His company is called Tanks a Lot. He buys and sells tanks.
There you go, and that shows you the little mock-up.
There it is.
Little copter, yeah,
little drone helicopter thingy.
It doesn't do a whole lot, really. It's just they're just testing the flight of it, to be honest.
Yeah.
They do. It will have a camera on it.
There you go. Look how much thicker and broader they are compared to an ordinary helicopter.
It's doing its work, right? Yeah,
and that's actually attached to the bottom of the rover, so literally it will just drop it.
Yeah. All right. Well, thank you so much.
and then move away, obviously.
It's just like the real one, except for it's not going to Mars. Well, thank you so much.
He did that funny.
Well, if it leaves now, it might be able to catch up.
Spencer, to tell you why the Perseverance name is more than just a name to us here at NASA.
We are a species of explorers, believers.
We choose to go to the moon in this decade and do the other thing. Not because they are easy, but because they are hard.
We are willing.
Because the Russians have just scared the shit out of us.
Yeah.
This
basically.
Brings out the best in us.
There's a series actually you can get on Apple TV at the moment. It's called Red Moon, and it's an alternative history. And in this alternative history, the Russians made it to the moon first, and NASA are actually having a disaster after disaster after disaster to land on the moon. Apollo 11 fails, and Apollo 12 also fails.
Technically, the Russians did get there first, just not with men.
Yeah. They landed a probe, didn't they? They were the first ones to land a probe.
Yeah, I mean, the only thing the Russians didn't do first in the entire space race was put man on the moon. Everything else they did first, and yet somehow the Americans won.
Made it into space first, the first spacewalk, the first probe on the moon. Yeah.
Well, I mean, what people forget is okay. Forget about Sputnik. They got the first satellite into space. When they launched Yuri Gagarin into space, not only was he the first man into space, he was the first person to orbit the Earth, because the first two American launches were suborbital.
Yeah, that's right.
I think that's what really put the wind up. It's like, shit, not only have the Russians got there first, but they've actually achieved orbit. We weren't even planning on doing that for the first two launches. Uh-oh.
Well, actually, the NASA were the first to actually dock two objects in space, though, in orbit. They were the first to do that. Rendezvous and dock, if unless I'm mistaken. I'm pretty sure.
That was one of the main purposes of the Gemini missions, wasn't it?
That's right.
Because they knew they had to do that for the Apollo missions. I mean, Gemini was basically testing out everything they needed to do for the Apollo missions.
Yeah.
Other than going to the moon and landing on it, as much as they could do, you know.
Yeah. Yeah.
Just getting maneuvering close to something else first, because nobody done that before. Yeah, it's not a matter of docking with it. It's just like, well, can we get close to it without killing ourselves? You know.
Exactly. Yeah.
But what about the other side? The other theory that could be out there, when one country competes with another country for the technology to do something by saying we're going to do it, so the other country goes ahead and says, okay, then. We can't let them do it. We'll do it first by developing the technology to do it, and then the other country go, oh, okay, they've managed to do this and figure out that, and then we'll do it. We'll do it as well and copy what they've done.
Yeah, but that to be honest, that didn't really happen between the Americans and the Russians, because their approaches to it were vastly different, even to the point where the Americans had launched Apollo rockets and the Russians had seen them. But if you look at the rocket they were building to take their men to the moon, it was a totally different design. And half their problem was that their main rocket, the first stage, had umpteen small rockets, whereas the Saturn V had 5. What was the Russian? Was it the N1 or whatever it was called? It had something like 15 or 20 engines.
Yeah.
And that was probably half the reason they had so many problems with it, because they had made it overly complicated. It had 2 rings of these rocket engines, whereas the Saturn V they just said, sod it, let's just make them big.
Yeah.
Let's just make them really big. Let's not have loads and loads of engines. Let's just have 5 of these big buggers. That'll do it. And they are huge. When you actually look at the figures behind each of those rocket engines, they are massive.
Yeah, the F1s. Yeah, they are massive.
The
thing about the Russian N1 was that, like exactly you said, they had lots of different engines, and the problem is it's all very well strapping all those engines on it and then just lighting them away you go. It doesn't work like that.
No.
They've all got to work in sync. They've got to be gimbaled in sync, and everything's got to be coordinated together. And that was the biggest problem they actually had, was doing that.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's why I mean, if they hadn't done that, the chances are they would have beaten NASA to the moon.
Cool. Well done.
Was it you farmers that said that they used the rockets that they'd already developed, just made them bigger, or just used more of them because they'd already developed and thought, oh, they work, so we won't change them?
Well, the first rockets that NASA did, they were just converted ICBMs.
No, the Russians one.
Oh, the Russians, yeah, same. Well, pretty much. Well, no, not really. They went through a different process, but
yeah, they went through a different process.
Same technology.
Yeah, I think the problem was with their moon rocket. I think it was the N1, but somebody correct me if I'm wrong. It was a completely new design, and it didn't really build on what they'd done before, except possibly the rocket motors themselves. But they had got something like 15 or 20 odd rocket motors, where the Americans just had 5. And if the Russians had gone the same way, and sort of said, look, okay, what we're doing isn't working. Look at what the Americans are doing. Why can't we just copy them? Because Russians do have a history of copying the Americans in certain respects. The best example is the American B-29 Super Fortress bomber. They went on a long overland bombing raid, and they had arranged beforehand that they would then land in Russia. And the Russians promptly impounded their aircraft, took them apart, reverse engineered them, and built their own version. I think it was the Tupolev 4, which was an identical copy of the B-29. And they reckon even to the point where when they molded the tires, I think it still said something like Michelin on them. How true that is, I don't know. But they literally just took a B-29 apart, and somebody said, copy this. And that's what they did. So the Russians do have a history of copying people's stuff. And unfortunately for them, they didn't do it when it came to the moon rocket. And I think they had so many problems with it, and it like blew up and failed so many times that somebody fortunately had the good sense to say, why are we doing this? We've already got moon rock samples. We've sent our rovers to the moon. We've retrieved our own samples of moon rock. Do we really need to put man up there now the Americans have beaten us to it? Why don't we just concentrate on building our Salyut space station and doing low Earth orbit research? And that's basically what they did. They gave up on the moon and said, sod it, we'll have a space station, a low Earth orbit, and we'll go that way.
So people say.
So people say, but and that's what they did. And for many years, up until a few months ago, if the Americans want to get into space, how would they get into the ISS? The Russians.
Well, the Russians copied the space shuttle.
Yeah, they tried to.
They tried to, yeah. I mean, well, that was another. It was a dual thing of so much money and also politics. Internal politics kind of put a stop to that. So
that's what a lot of it comes down to is politics.
Yeah, well, it's the same with NASA. I mean, that's that. As I said it before, is that NASA can't afford to fail. Where you get the likes of SpaceX, they can, and they do, and they learn from it. But NASA can't do that because politics and people actually see failures, and what they say is, look, we're paying for all this, we're paying for this, so therefore, we shouldn't do this. So this is why a lot of space programs in NASA take so long to produce. Like the SLS, that's one of the reasons why SLS has taken so flipping long, because of politics and budgets and all the rest of it as well.
Yeah.
So commercial crew program, I think NASA have done the right thing, is actually having a commercial crew program or a commercial space program, full stop. It's going to accelerate things much, much quicker. And they need to do that if they want to get to Mars before China do, then I don't think there's necessarily an official race to get to Mars before China, but I think if you listen to people within NASA and the right kind of people, I think there probably is a bit of a space race going on. I
think so. Yeah.
Unofficial.
I think with the current political environment, anything that they can do before China is going to be good.
Yeah. I mean, obviously, it's very different times to the 1960s. I mean, you had a Cold War going on, and there was a very real threat of a nuclear war. And their greatest fear that point was that if they do dominate space, then they could dominate, the arms race quite easily. It's going to be a real sort of threat. I mean, so very, very different times. At the moment, all it really is just kind of like, well, if we can beat them to Mars, it's bragging rights. That's really pretty much all it is. It's not much else. It's really sort of a kind of a nice thing to do rather than a really need thing to do.
Yeah.
I mean, the space race in the 1960s was just a big dick wagging contest, really, wasn't it?
It was, but the Russians have put the fear of God up the Americans.
And
of course, the thing of Sputnik, they've put a satellite into space, and the whole, that if they can put a satellite into space, and there's nothing to stop them putting warheads in space and dropping them wherever they like, blah blah blah. Then you had the whole nonsense over the Cuban Missile Crisis. There they are parking nuclear warhead-tipped missiles literally just off the coast of the US.
Yeah, and the US military in those times as well were having thoughts of them putting missiles on the moon.
Yes,
and shooting it to Earth and all the rest of it.
Or even to the point where they just wanted to explode a nuclear bomb on the moon, didn't they?
Oh yeah. Oh, can I just make a comment about what they just had on screen there? Can you? No, sorry, don't worry about rewinding it. The landing system, they showed the landing system there. This is another good thing about the Perseverance spacecraft.
Oh, there we go.
That's part of it. It's a very clever system. Literally, it decides when the parachutes are going to open. And what it does is analyzing the surface all the time, all the way down to find the best landing spot. So it decides when the parachutes actually open. And then when it comes into powered flight as well, it's exactly the same thing. It's steering itself all the time. Into a complete landing, so that basically it should increase the success of landing. So it's not going to land on somewhere where the rover's not going to work or move.
Well, that and the fact it has to be completely autonomous, doesn't it? Because
Yeah,
we
absolutely.
can't control it from here because the signal takes too long to get there.
Yeah, absolutely. That's right.
The sort of whole round trip of it going, hang on, what do I do?
So as you saw there, that's the sky crane system. So you've got the top bit there, that's kind of like the powered part, and then it just drops it down. And then when the rover touches the surface, basically those cables you see, explosive bolts on the Perseverance, put them away, and that thing just flies off and then crash lands elsewhere. And it worked with Curiosity, so it worked very, very well with Curiosity. So yeah, same sort of system. So it's the same system essentially, except for with Perseverance, it's on steroids. It's just a better system.
You had improved.
Yeah.
I have to go now, guys, so I shall see you all later.
All right, Alan.
Later, Alan.
Bye, Alan. Thanks for coming.
Another good thing as well, it's got so many different cameras on board this thing, including super high definition cameras as well. So we should get some really, really good shots. And it's got 2 microphones as well.
Yes, they're gonna
sounds.
Oh dear.
So it's got advanced CGI.
Yeah. Yeah, advanced CGI. That's it. Yeah.
Just had its second burn, apparently. Quite weird to think it's going to take 7 months.
Well, it's not just round the corner. It's quite a distance still.
Yeah, February the 18th is the due landing date.
Oh, God.
Well, you see, the problem is, as we were saying earlier, if you sent it there faster, that means you've got to spend more work the other end slowing it down again.
Yeah.
So it's always a compromise between how fast you want it to get there and how much energy do you want to expend having to slow it down at the other end so that you can then land your probe safely.
Yeah. This thing ain't slowing down until it gets near the surface. Well, when it starts hitting the atmosphere just by drag alone. But
oh yeah. Let's say that.
It's got no engines on it apart from that. And
Well,
it gets near the surface.
I mean, the effect of atmospheric drag, I think, was shown very well by Matey Boy doing this Red Bull jump. Baumgartner, because when he jumped out of his capsule and accelerated, he actually broke the speed of sound,
and then slowed.
And then he started to slow down by doing nothing at all. He just dropped, and that was a perfect demonstration of the density gradient in our atmosphere. The further down he got, the thicker the air gets, and the slower he goes. But to begin with, I think there's some disagreement over exactly what maximum speed he hit, but he certainly broke the sound barrier. He was doing 800 miles an hour plus, just in free fall, just by dropping like a brick. And then he started to slow down as the atmosphere got thicker.
That's probably why it was out of control for a little while, because he was spinning for a bit.
That's right, yeah. And there was nothing he could do because, I mean, if you watch guys who are doing free fall, they can adjust their position by moving their arms and their legs and all the rest of it. When there's no air or not enough air for that to have any effect, there's nothing you can do. If you're just a bloke in a suit dropping, tough. If you start spinning, if you lose control, you can't regain it because the air's not thick enough for you to be able to do anything.
Yeah.
Oh, Mad reckons he went over 1,000 miles an hour. So this is the problem. Depending on where you look and how they measured it, there seems to be some disagreement just to how fast he went. But they all agree on the same thing. He did go fast enough to break the speed of sound, which is quite something when you think about it. It's just a bloke in a pressure suit. Obviously, it's been done before. Chap did it back in the 60s.
A lot of people don't actually know this, but somebody else has actually broken his record since then.
Apparently so, but it's had virtually zero publicity.
It was a guy from Microsoft. They did it by a very different system. What they did was they put him inside. Essentially, was like a diving suit, really, a space suit, but much thicker and with its own life support. And he was actually attached to a balloon. So when it came to release, he actually went well above Baumgartner's record attempt, and he was dropped down in free fall. And same sort of thing, the parachute. Yeah,
I mean, I think the chap who did it back in the early to mid 60s, I don't think he was even in a capsule. I think he was pretty much just sat on something under a balloon and went to pretty much the same altitude, maybe a little bit less than Baumgartner did, and he did the same thing. He just sort of slid off the pretty much a bench under a parachute, and he just went, right, off we go. I don't think there's any of this capsule nonsense. He just sort of sat there and went up with the balloon, and then just pushed himself off, and I think he broke the sound barrier as well because he was about the same height as Baumgartner.
Must have been in a pressure suit, wasn't he? Must have.
Oh, he was in a he was in a pressure suit. But there was none of this put him in the capsule nonsense. They just
jumped out.
But I think this was the very early days of the space race, and they just wanted to see what would happen to somebody in a pressure suit at that sort of altitude. So it was like, well, we'll send you up on the balloon and see what happens. Oh, okay then, yeah, whatever. Yeah, but that's how they did things back then. I mean, they did. It really was a case of, well, to be honest, we've just got to put somebody up there and see what happens. And there's always, willing volunteers. Yeah, I'll do it. Yeah, whatever.
Like that guy that got on the rocket sled and it slows down from like thousands of miles an hour to 0 in under a second,
Oh,
and it nearly made his eyes pop out his head,
Yeah. Oh, that's the chap.
Joseph
Kittinger.
Yeah.
And I think this guy, he had a problem. I think he had a problem with one of his gloves or something, and his hand sort of swelled up. And
that's right. Yeah.
From what I could, it's ages since I've read about it, but yeah, it was pretty much the same thing. It's look, we're going to send you up as high as possible in a pressure suit, and just sort of jump off and come back down to earth.
Hello.
Hello, Matt.
Hello, Mad.
Hello.
Hello. Well, hello, Madby.
Hello, Mr. Spaceman.
How are you?
Oh, we're all right. Sort of getting there,
Sort of.
struggling. Do you want to hear my woes? No, of course you don't. No, right. We're all good. The sun is shining, so I've got no complaints.
Thanks, Brainery.
Well, Gary Eilerhoyt says, Pi Pirate, I joined, but no one wants to listen to me ramble on about random shit.
Brainery says, well, we're listening to farmers. Yeah.
That's exactly what we're doing. Random shot.
Yeah,
Look, if
Felix,
there's anybody who could do random shite, it's me.
Yeah. Felix doesn't hold the longest record for free fall, though. He missed it by a few seconds.
Did he?
Yeah, that bloke who done it in the American.
Vinder or something.
Yeah, but he got the altitude though, wasn't he? He got the
he got altitude. Yeah, he got the altitude.
Highest altitude.
And the fastest recorded man falling.
Yeah. But yeah, not the longest free fall.
He just missed it. If he'd have held his chute open, that for another few seconds, he would have beat the record. But he didn't quite beat it.
Yeah.
But
I suppose when you've jumped out from in excess of 100,000 feet, you've broken the sound barrier just in the pressure suit, and your system's telling you really ought to open your chute now. I'd be going, yep, okay.
Yep.
I wouldn't be thinking, as the ground's coming towards you and you're doing that whole, it's large and it's round, we'll call it the ground. I wonder if it'll be friends with me. Yeah. You're not going to be thinking, no, you're right. I'll give it another couple of seconds. Why don't? Yeah, that's it. Because you're going to get to that point where you think, I really ought to.
Yeah, poof, and then the chute opens just as you hit the ground. Yeah,
that was the last thought that got into your head, and then it came out of your head for a fraction of a second.
Yeah.
And what's the last thing that went through his head? His arse. Quite. I'd be in the same position to say, system says open chute, I'm opening the chute. Thank you very much.
Yeah,
otherwise,
the main attempt, the main attempt was actually to beat Felix Baumgartner in terms of altitude. That was their main goal anyway, which they did that. So
I suppose so. But when you're doing it for the first time in 50 years,
Yeah, it was a Microsoft guy. What was his name? I can't remember his name.
He's just done it recently.
No, no, it's just a few years ago now.
It got no publicity.
It got no publicity.
Heard of it.
Yeah. If you type in a Google Microsoft man beats world
altitude,
threefold altitude jump or something.
I hope he didn't use Windows 10 because he'd have had to wait for his updates, mate. He'd have been there for bloody ages waiting.
Guys, Stephen Ball or Stephen?
It's Mr. Useless. Sorry, Alan Eustace.
That's it. There you go, Alan Eustace.
Alan Eustace, a senior vice president at Google, broke the world record for high altitude jumps.
Google. Right. Yeah.
Yeah, there you go, Alan Eustace.
Not Microsoft.
Useless.
That's not him doing it there and that way, though, I might say.
No.
That was just a test. Yeah. Stratosphere breaks.
There's now. That's it. I think that's the article I've just opened. Over 25 miles in 15 minutes.
Yeah.
Oh, it's 57. Blimey.
Yeah, it got little to no publicity for some reason, and I think it's probably because Felix Baumgartner got a whole load of sponsorship, particularly with Red Bull.
Oh yeah, when you've got Red Bull publicising you, the world's going to know about it. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah,
they're going to make certain.
I don't think Alan Eustace had that kind of stuff.
He had no capsule or anything. He was attached to the balloon because it says Mr. Eustace cut himself loose from the balloon with the aid of a small explosive device.
Yeah, his suit basically was really the capsule. Yes. Essentially, so they let go of the whole thing. The explosive bolts just dropped him. That's it. Away he went.
It took him just over 2 hours to get up to altitude, and then he came back. It took him 15 minutes to come back down after release. Apparently, he peaked at 822 miles an hour.
Yeah,
setting off a small sonic boom heard by people on the ground. Outstanding.
Yeah,
what a rush.
I'm sorry, that wasn't a sonic boom, mate. I had a chili last night. But no one can smell it up here.
You mate, you don't need to eat a chili. We just know you do anyway, all the time. So
apparently, the final confirmed altitude for him was 135,890 feet,
which beat Felix's by how much?
Baumgartner was 128,100. So yeah, he was a good nearly 8,000 feet higher.
Whoa.
And I'll tell you what, I bet he could see the bloody curve.
Yeah. Hold my beer. I'm going to pick this.
It's going to be a lawn chair and some helium balloons, isn't it?
Yeah. I suggest everybody, when they get a chance, go up on YouTube and you'll see the whole documentary behind it. And the thing about it, he is probably the most unlikely person you could ever imagine that would actually do something as daring as this. He basically is an office geek. He works at Microsoft and he sits behind a desk. That's what he does as a job, and wears glasses. It's just
Google.
It just doesn't really seem the kind of person that would actually do it. But
I've just seen his photo on his Wikipedia page. Yeah, you wouldn't look at him and go, he's been up to 135,000 feet, and
no chance.
Yeah, you know why, don't you? There's a woman in the office he fancies.
Yeah.
What can I do to win her over?
No, in a foolish moment, she said, "Yeah, you'll get your blowjob if you do this."
Yeah.
No, he probably asked her out, and she said, "Go jump in the lake," and he goes, "I'll do it."
I was going to say the same thing. She told him to go and jump, and he went,
"Yeah,
go be creative with that."
Yeah, go take a high jump, mate. Oh, all right then.
I've done it. What now?
Walks in the office with the Spando suit on. I'm happy.
From 135,000 feet, and all he'll get is whatever. Yeah, and so
you could really show her up in the office, couldn't you? You just tell her, this woman is reneged on her bet. She said, if I'd done this jump, she'd give me a blowjob. There'd be court actions then, wouldn't there?
Zebulon said you could just attach rockets to a chair. Do you know, that's not far off how they used to test, as Paul mentioned earlier, the deceleration. If you've ever seen the film of their rocket sleds.
Oh, yeah.
When they fire them down this rail. And then when they stop, bloody hell. Yeah.
Yeah.
No, it's
well, the bloke used to say, like, he said sometimes he lost his eyesight for a number of hours until it recovered.
Yeah.
Oh, shift change. Look at ULA. I'm just seeing.
Well, we're not going to see any. We're not going to see any more in this feed. Everything's going to be
That's
CGI.
that's the ULE bit finished. So
Yeah, that's it. You're not going to see.
I don't think we're going to see any more.
So Perseverance is on its way to Mars.
So early next year, then.
thank you,
February
Shane.
February 18th is due to land on Mars.
Oh, don't say that. You'll be wrong, Casual. Say another date. Say like
No.
December.
I'm definitely right this time. That's when it's scheduled to land. But well,
Oh,
it's either going to miss. Or it's going to hit the surface at a great.
What time's it going to land, Casual?
1:30 Tuesday.
You want Mars time or Earth time, Terry?
Yeah, exactly.
So what's this Mars trip for? Is that sort of prepare for humans to go?
I suppose it is partly to do with it, but it's just I suppose partly to do it. You've heard of Perseverance as the Mars rover or the Mars 2020 rover, as it used to be called.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it's got all sorts of stuff on board and lots of different cameras and a couple of microphones and a helicopter and a Moxie, which is
I see the helicopter, but
yeah,
they can go fix the other rovers what are on there.
Who's going to use the microphone?
The other rovers.
Did anyone see Anton the other day?
What?
He said we should be concentrating on going to Venus instead of Mars.
Yes, he
How do
did.
you want to go to Venus for?
Well,
Yes,
it's got volcanoes and tectonic plates and better than Mars.
And it's got a highly corrosive, very dense atmosphere.
Yeah,
It's got absolutely lethal atmosphere. Oh, I was just looking up on that chap on the rocket sled, Colonel John P. Stapp.
Yeah.
The fastest man on Earth he was in 1954 on a rocket-powered trip that propelled him to a rate of 632 miles per second and subjected him to more than 40 G's deceleration because it stopped in 1.4 seconds. He suffered bruises, blisters, and temporary blindness.
I'm sure he bloody did. Stuff that for a game.
If they said 40 G's of deceleration.
If somebody said we're going to launch you down in the sledge at 1,000 miles an hour and then decelerate you within a few seconds, like that for a game of soldiers. I'm off. No way.
Your eyes would be on stalks, wouldn't they, when you braked? Yeah.
It was all to do with testing to see what would happen if a pilot ejected at 35,000 feet at twice the speed of sound, because that was a very real problem. Their aircraft were getting faster and faster, and people said, well, what happens if you have to eject at high speed? And it was like, don't know. We better find out. Here, bloke, sit on this. Whoosh.
Yeah, so they should be all right, don't worry.
Yeah, you'll be fine.
Don't forget to strap yourself in.
Eject, yeah.
Well, they did. They came up with some of the aircraft. They had these special screens that the pilot would pull down in front of him before he ejected. You had like this metallic concertina shroud that you pulled down in front of you. Then when you ejected at like twice the speed of sound, the shroud projected you from twice the speed of sound's airstream.
Yeah.
You know, if you're doing sort of 1,300 miles an hour and you punch out, you're hitting air at 1,300 miles an hour, aren't you? And that's what they were worried about. What would it do to the pilot?
You know, when you're on an airplane and you hear the same music always playing, it's because no one wants to press the eject button on the cassette deck.
What does this button do? Don't press that. And that's why the Americans came up with things like I think the F-111, the whole nose came off, so the pilot and the co-pilot didn't eject; they remained sat in the nose, and the whole nose came off. I've actually seen that happen twice, unfortunately. And the second time, of the three parachutes, only one opened, and they both sustained serious but not life-threatening injuries. They had broken bones and compressed spines and things like that, but they survived because their plane that burned across the Newmarket sky very well, I can tell you. As I stood there watching it. Yeah,
it wasn't a pretty sight.
No. And it's blind luck that where it came down in a string of a row of houses, and there was actually a gap There was a gap in the houses, and that's where the uncontrolled noseless upside down on fire plane crashed. It was like, how the hell did it manage to hit the one spot where there was no houses? You know,
it takes some skill to actually guide that plane. Or let go now.
Well, they knew they were in trouble, and they left it. They reckoned afterwards in the report. They said we left it as late as we could, trying to steer the plane away, because they knew they were going to have to eject. And it was like they weren't flying over the town, but there was still a lot of houses and habitation. It was like try and get it as far away as possible. And they did leave it until the last possible second. And then, of course, only one parachute worked. And I think they had quite a heavy landing.
Yes.
Well,
they're lucky one of them actually opened them chutes.
Grab Guru, what the hell are pushytrons?
Pushytrons.
Have you not been keeping up to date with
an
the
answer any
Stingray?
minute now. Microcrapper.
Yeah, this is you're an expert in pushytrons. What the hell's a pushytrons? Don't tell me a flat earther has come up with a theory and they call it.
Well, you should have new pushytrons in your new computer. That's what makes it go faster.
All I will say, Casual, is go and watch Schrodinger's Cat's channel, and you'll find a debate between Bob the Science Guy and the Stingray.
All right.
And Stingray was the flat earther.
Okay.
And if you watch the whole thing, pay close attention to the side chat. Because at least half of the audience didn't know that Stingray was pretending to be a flat earther.
Really?
Yes.
Wow.
And there were a few it didn't help that there was a few of us in there were cheerleading Stingray on and sort of helping him along.
Well,
trying to add fuel to the fire, you know.
Stingray's been working on that for quite a while, though, isn't he? Quite a number of months to work up to that point, though.
Yeah, he has.
Yes, and he came up with pushytrons in place of gravity.
Pushytrons. I was just about to say, before I make a fool of myself, pushytrons is not a thing, is it?
No, it's not. Of course, it's not. But it is worth watching, but the amusement is increased if you watch the side chat, because there were people within minutes of Stingray starting his presentation. There were people going ballistic at him and calling him all sorts of names, and it's like he's joking.
Did they reveal at the end of the show that he was not a flat earther?
Yes, they did. They did. But there's obviously a lot of people who've never encountered Stingray, never seen him in Jose's hangout or anything like that. They didn't have a clue who he was, and they were convinced that he was a flat earther because he's saying, "Oh yes, I refer to the luminaries of the flat Earth, you know, Nathan Oakley and QE, and we're all agreeing in a side chat. Yeah. He's learned everything he knows from these wonderful people. Blah blah blah." And yeah, there's so many people got completely suckered in by it.
Pip, I'm liking your new presentation style.
Thank you. It's StreamYard. It's called.
I know it is. Yeah, there's a free. Is this the free version? I have actually.
No, this is the paid one. But
this is the paid one. Yeah, it's nice.
You can't change your backgrounds and everything on the free one, but that's the only.
Yeah.
I think you 20 hours a month, free, and 6 people in.
Yeah, it looks good. Looks well.
It does look good.
I've got different ones for different things. Let's just see. Oh, where to put my? Oh. No, don't want to do that.
In case anybody's wondering, I'm not crying. I've got flipping hay fever today.
Oh, damn! I bet I've got this time. Can't really see it.
I'll take my anti-ugly pills. I'll cure it. Need plenty of them.
Where's my other doohickey?
Oh, yeah. Oh, I'm liking the side chat. Shout out to the U2. Shout out to the XB70. Yeah. The Valkyrie.
Morton Nielsen would like a link for that hangout you were talking about.
Oh, what? Hang on. Let me dig it up. What, the Schrodinger's cat thing?
Yeah. Where's Stingray and whatever.
Let me find it and I'll bring it in. Oh, come on. Of course, now I've got to find his channel. It'll be buried way down here somewhere.
Sounds like Stingray was just proposing Lesage's theory of gravitation and calling it pushytron.
Yeah. I think that's where he got it from. Yeah.
Yeah. of course, that theory was discontinued because it had heaps of problems.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But when you've got lots of flurfers listening to it, to them it will sound very plausible.
Yeah.
Okay, there we go. Go on. There, right, the link's in the side chat. That will take you to Schrodinger's channel.
Okay.
And yeah, if anybody who's going to watch it, pay attention to the side chat, because that was most amusing. Some people caught on, but an awful lot of people, no, totally suckered in.
Have a space on. Oh my goodness, it's raining again. There's a surprise.
No, I've got blue skies, wispy cloud, and lots of house martins fluttering around, including my house martins.
Roger Rabbit. To truly decide oneself as a flare.
Sorry, Pip.
All right. Just I'll put the comment up. You can see it. So carry on.
No, it's okay. It's all right.
I was just reading it. It's okie dokie.
Oh, how to disguise yourself as a flirt?
Yeah.
Yeah. Frontal lobotomy. Yeah, there's probably a lot to be said for that. Yeah. There was a couple of comments I've just noticed, because I'd put a comment up to this, and Wolfgang had said not nearly enough interrupting. Yeah, that's a bit of a giveaway, because flat earthers do like to interrupt. Oh, and GPS, I think GPS is still around. He added, nor was there any baby talk.
He'll need to get worse.
Could he possibly be referring to Travis?
Yeah.
But yeah, it was very entertaining.
Is Terry gone? Is he still here, or is he muted?
Yeah, I'm still here.
Oh, you're there.
Hello, Terry.
Yeah,
Hey,
you have
man.
to do the Terry check, don't you? Is Terry muted?
No, I'm not muted. I don't think I was that time.
Well, we have to check from time to time, just in case.
That'll be standard phrase in new studios to come. Is Terry there?
Is Terry on mute?
Yeah, just check if he's on mute. Here, Terry.
According to the NASA stream, it says time until signal acquisition 12 minutes 30. What are they getting the signal for?
Probably from the spacecraft, the part that's actually going to head to Mars.
All right.
No, they want to know if Terry's okay.
Yeah.
We have a signal from the spacecraft. What is it? Is Terry on you?
Have you got your signal yet, Terry?
So does anyone have any more derpy shite we should be showing? They want to see?
Only if you want to watch Spurs' video.
Oh God, I've watched the first minute or two, and you're right, farmers.
I told you.
Oh. The acceleration due to relative density is 10 meters per second.
You did say derpy shite. You didn't say
Derpy shite, yeah.
Okay, right, okay.
One Newton is 100 grams, apparently.
What?
Well, if you want to share it, feel free.
I weigh more than 100 grams. I like you to know.
I don't know whether. Well, I mean, actually, I can't share anything in here because I have the same problem as I do in meat. But
who said 1 Newton was 100 grams? Who said that?
Spurs in his video.
Oh God.
I weigh considerably more than 100 grams. Thank you very much, Spurs.
I mean, it is painful to listen to, but I'll put it in the internal chat here. That's the link to it if you do want to watch it. But I'm warning you now. Well, Paul, like you said, you've seen the first minute or two. How bad is it?
Oh, it's bad.
It's bad.
Yeah.
So I don't want to take the blame if you watch this and then go, ye gods, what are we doing? What have you done to me?
You would have to have your finger on the pause button because there's going to be plenty of stop.
Yeah, enough fine.
And that's why I said on Skype that Rumpus was having a bit of a pop, and I said, no, let Jose play the video because it's the funniest thing I've seen in a long time, and everybody will be poking fun at it, and then all of the flatards in the side chat will be congratulating Spurs and going, yeah, right, bang on, yeah, another brilliant presentation, and
correct me if I'm wrong. I mean, maybe my science is a bit screwed up, but I'm pretty bad at science. But I know Newton is a measurement of force, isn't it? Is it not?
Yeah.
Yeah. It's actually the proper unit for weight, because what we tend to do over here is we use kilograms for both mass and weight, but weight should technically be measured in newtons, because it's mass times acceleration due to gravity.
Yeah, exactly.
That gives us weight. But we tend to when we say it weighs something over here, like it weighs 10 kilograms, what we're actually, that's the mass.
Yeah.
But it's become so interchangeable over here that I think
the acceleration of gravity. That's the mass and the acceleration of gravity. But
correct.
Rockets are not up in space. First chemo explains the physics behind why it's not possible. Hey, young students, welcome to the class of higher learning. Join here to find out how science works, how rockets work, and how NASA is lying to you. We do not want you growing up dumb and without the opportunity to critically think about these things for yourself. So grab yourself a chair and let's get ready to learn. Yay! Wow.
I wouldn't get Spurs schemos to explain anything, let alone.
Oh my God.
Oh God.
It's his channel. Why the hell is he talking himself in the third person?
You go off that Spurs for you. But if we're going to watch this, I do strongly advise people to push yourself away from the screens and make sure there are no blunt objects within easy grabbing distance, because you will hurt yourself. It's painful.
Are we gonna have a big blue pre-video warning?
Push the monitors out of punching range, oven gloves on standby, and it is a dumpster fire. It's comedy gold, and it's not just because of the content. I'll tell you that now.
Ronnie Beaver, I don't know. I think there's 13 frames missing from one of those shots.
Yeah, just a word of warning to Terry. That Ham's worm hat. Don't go there, Terry. Just don't go there.
He's a complete and utter lunatic, that guy. Hamsy.
Apparently, volcanoes just harbour melting glass. Apparently.
Yeah, but we'd like to have some dirt.
That's the least of your worries.
He's a really loopy religious. He's homophobic. And yeah,
he's anti-Semitic as well.
Yeah, he's all the bull. You'll revel in it then, Terry.
Here we go then. Sorry,
Okay,
I'm sorry, everybody. But
Ice down for a full house.
Newton's third law. For every reaction, there is an equal and opposite reaction. General movement requires an object to push off another, such as when we walk, the foot pushes off the ground. When you throw a ball, your hand pushes the ball and the ball pushes your hand. The oar pushes the water, which in turn pushes the oar, and thus the boat. Pushing or pulling involves you or your vehicle applying some force to an external object such as the floor. Let us say that the foot applied 10 newtons. The opposite force will be 10 newtons. However, there are other forces that cause movement that doesn't involve you or your vehicle pushing off an external object.
Is that a leg?
Some examples are as follows. Buoyancy and the density gradient force. Force equals mass times acceleration. Acceleration due to relative density is approximately 10 meters per square. Is approximately 10 meters per second square.
He can't even say that right. He can't say squared.
Why did he exit and copy that bit out?
Relative density is a dimensionless number.
Correct.
Acceleration has dimensions of meters per second squared. You can't have relative density causing an acceleration.
No, as I succinctly explained, and as Riley denied, yeah, you're absolutely right. Relative density is a unitless number. That's it. It's a ratio.
Density applied on a 5 kilogram weight should be 50 newtons. So if you drop a 5 kilogram weight from your hand from a height, the opposite reaction on your hand would also be 50 newtons. If Newton's
I
third
don't
law
think
is
so.
applied exactly the way it was in the previous
No.
slide,
Doesn't work
regarding
like
vertical-
Let's see. The force that's applied by the object on your hand depends on how fast it stops.
Yeah.
Because if you want to stop it quicker, you've got to apply a greater force. Okay. If you let it drop from a greater height, it's going to reach a greater velocity, which means you've got to stop it with a much higher acceleration, which requires a much higher force. It's going to apply a higher force on your hand if you drop it from a higher height.
Yep.
So 5 kilograms from whatever height is not going to be 50 newtons. It's only going to be 50 newtons at a particular height.
Yes. That'll increase as you increase in height. Yeah.
I'd love to see Spurs drop 5 kilograms on his hand from a height of 1 meter even.
Oh, yes, please. I'll pay to just watch that.
Yeah.
I actually hold the 50 kilos because I'm quite capable of picking up.
I can tell him
50
right
kilos.
now it's going to be more than one. It's going to be more than 50 newtons.
Just a bit. I'm taking
Rowing
it into
and
very
rowing
well
the
at
boat.
school.
When you drop the 5 kilogram object, did you feel the 50 newtons of force pushing back on your hand?
No.
Of course
Why
not.
would you?
That's ridiculous.
Yeah,
Buoyancy
it is ridiculous.
is an upward force exerted by fluid that opposes the weight of an immersed object. The following equation states the buoyant force is equal to density times gravitational acceleration times the volume of fluid displaced. Let's say we have a jug of water which has a density of 1. Yes, water has a density of 1 kilogram per liter. Put a container full of air to the bottom of the jug. Container will move to the top. The volume of the container is 200 milliliters. Using the equation, buoyancy force equation, we get approximately 2 newtons. Subtract the 1 newton or force due to density, and you will have a net force of 1 newton.
Please pause
1
that.
newton equates to
No.
Can you pause that and just skip back to the text bit? I mean, that is just it's so random. It hurts.
It's got a density of 1 kilo.
So let's say we have a jug of water which has a density of 1. You can't have a density of 1. You could possibly have a relative density of 1 because water is generally our controlled substance. When you measure the relative density of a substance, you're measuring it against water, which has a relative density of 1. Water does not have a density of 1 kilogram per liter.
No, it doesn't.
No.
Because density is mass over volume.
And volume is measured in cubic meters, not liters.
Correct. And then he says, using the equation, the buoyancy force equation, apart from the fact that that's just the most dire English I've ever seen. What equation? Where? Where's he pulling these figures from? And then you remove a newton due to density. What? Hello? Oh, that's right, because you've got a magical density figure of 1 for water. Christ knows where you got that from. This whole thing is just utter garbage.
Oh, comes to say hello, Stingray, but it's gone.
Just to interrupt quickly, I'm gonna head off, guys. So I'll catch you later. Thanks for
Okay.
having me.
All right, mate. See you later.
See you later. Have
Bye.
fun. Bye. Bye.
Yeah,
Everyone.
I mean,
Bye, peanuts.
Carl's got
If
it.
you-
Carl's know exactly where it's come from, where he's pulled all this from. His ass.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. Because if you really like the density of water is depends what units you measure it in. But typically, if you're going to do it in SI units, it would be 1,000 kilograms per cubic meter.
Cubic meter. Yes.
Yeah.
I don't know. Hello, Professor.
Hi, Logan.
What? I'm guessing he didn't really do very good at school at all, or didn't go to school at all. One of the two.
Blue.
Not Professor Pineapple, this nerd in this video.
Yeah, I mean.
Hi, Stingray.
Hello, chaps.
Are you ready for more then?
Oh, go on then.
Did I just hear a blue?
Yep.
Yeah.
Hello, blue.
Hello.
A net force of 1 Newton. 1 Newton equates to 100 grams on the scale. Obviously, there was no opposite force applied on the scale when the object was released. Likewise, a hot air balloon wouldn't move upwards if the buoyancy force caused an equal and opposite reaction downwards. A pressure gradient force is the force which results when there is a difference in pressure across a surface. The following is the equation to calculate the pressure gradient force based off difference in pressure and density. The driving force for wind is the pressure gradient force. When pressure is different from one location to another, the difference in pressure exists. Now, if gas moves due to pressure gradient force calculated to be 10 Newton south, is there an opposite force applied of 10 Newton north? When the wind blows on the back of your head, did the air in the front of you push off your face when the air started to move away from you? Obviously not.
What? I know. Well, obviously, if the air is blowing onto your head, right, and those air molecules are crashing into your head, you would be pushing on those air molecules because that's how they slow down.
Oh dear.
I mean, duh.
I'm saying he doesn't know how to edit.
Well, he reckoned he did all this in a bit of a rush, but even so, I mean, the sighing and the moving close to the mic and then dropping back again, but the sighing is an absolute gem when he gets to the complicated bits. If relative density actually worked, would Spurs be farting out of his mouth?
Can I change the experiment from air hitting the back of his head to my hand hitting the back of his head?
Why have I suddenly got a pickaxe handle in my hand? Hey Spurs, come here.
Is this up on Spurs channel or something?
Yeah, this is his latest video that he's been asking Jose to play. So Jose, I don't know whether he will, but he's trying to see if Jose will play it this afternoon. He wanted him to play it yesterday, but he'd already got things lined up. This is him supposedly proving that rockets can't work in space because they violate Newton's third law of motion. But we haven't got to that bit yet. But that's apparently what this does.
I don't watch this fool. What's the name of his channel?
Under No Pressure. This is his channel that's got all his derp on. It's called Under No Pressure. But if you want, the link to this video is in the internal chat here.
Oh, is it? Okay.
Yeah, that's the video that we're watching now. It's so bad it's funny.
He's supposed to be a good little boy and drop his vids in any other vids. I've trained him to do that.
Has he not dropped this one?
No, I can't find it. I'm gonna have to have a go at him for that.
Well, I don't see the internal chat here because I just joined. So.
No, I mean over on any other vids over on.
Oh, hang on. Let me. Oh yeah, do you see that?
Because that's where he usually drop. I told him to drop it there.
There you go.
There you go. I'll put it. I'll just post it again. So that would take to this video, and you'll be able to see his Under No Pressure channel. That's where he puts all his gobshite.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're right. He's not.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, I've only seen this because it's on a particular Skype discussion group that I'm in. It's just YouTube participants, and that's where Spurs always puts all his videos up. And I saw this up yesterday, and I thought, well, I've just called it a load of shite. Maybe I'll watch it and see just how bad it is. And well, as we can see, it's bad.
He usually drops any video he puts out. He's always dropped it.
Yeah, but this is abysmal. Maybe he didn't want to advertise it, or maybe he was keeping it for Jose. Okay, on we go.
I'm off to make a coffee and be back in a minute.
Fair enough. Don't blame you.
When the video's finished, I'll be back on.
As you saw in the video, the pressure gradient force was strong enough to lift the container, but that force is not seen on the scale. To lift the container, the air movement must apply a force greater than 1 Newton. However, this is not seen on the scale. You can see that the scale never read above 100 grams or more than 1 Newton. Additionally, free expansion of gas states that gas expanded into a vacuum does no work. How does exhaust from the rocket chamber move outside the rocket chamber? Does the rocket push the gas out like a person throwing a ball? Does gas move out due to gravity, even though it's not a force? Does the gas move out due to buoyancy? Does the gas move out due to pressure gradient force?
So bear in mind, we're talking about rockets, okay? This is rockets. Rockets. Just remember, rockets.
Oh, God, okay.
You can just imagine the gas being sucked out by gravity. Oh, man. Jesus.
Yes, Gary, this is why I said forget the technical content. The actual, the audio quality of this video is just amazing. The size when he gets to complicated bits. Oh, I've got to read out an equation. Go for it.
Oh my. I'm afraid he's going to.
According to MIT, a rocket in its simplest form is a chamber enclosing a gas under pressure. A small opening in one end of the chamber allows the escape of pressurized gas. Escape into low pressure sounds like pressure gradient force. The exhaust from the rocket chamber moves out of the rocket because of the pressure gradient force.
Not a rocket, you stuck knuckle at the jet engine.
Yeah.
That looks like the one they put
So what
in
did we learn about pressure gradient force?
Not a rocket.
There is no opposite force because Newton's third law cannot be applied
between
exactly
a
the way
rocket and a jet engine. Okay.
No, he doesn't. Bless his heart.
it was in the previous slides regarding walking, throwing, and rowing a boat. Pressure gradient force comes from potential energy, just like density and buoyancy. The balloon pushes off the atmosphere. If we put the vacuum hose near the opening of the balloon, the air moves into the hose without much resistance. When the vacuum hose is placed behind the car away from the opening of the balloon, the air meeting the resistance of the atmosphere causes flux in both cases. The vacuum hose is behind the car to remove the illusion, but it appears that it slowed the car down. As you can see, the balloon can't begin to accelerate nearly as much as when the vacuum gauge was near the balloon open.
Oh my God.
I know.
Stick a bigger nozzle on the end of your vacuum cleaner, you can suck that whole thing up into it.
I told you it was funny.
Oh, mate, what a dimwit.
This first equation is how NASA says how rockets work. The second equation is the fluid dynamics equation for movement of fluids through a pipe. Similarly, the rocket exhaust, which is a fluid which moves through the nozzle pipe. Both equations have velocity. So let us substitute velocity in the NASA equation with what velocity equals in the fluid dynamics equation. This is the equation you get after substitution. Mass flow rate is equal to density times volumetric flow rate. You can convert volume to mass with density. Volumetric flow rate equals mass flow rate divided by density. Now let us replace volumetric flow rate with mass flow rate divided by density. After substitution, you get 4 times the mass flow rate squared divided by pi, pipe diameter squared, and density. There is no longer a need to calculate the exit velocity. This states that mass flow rate is essentially force. This is incorrect. And suck air from a pipe with only one end open, but a small hole on the side of the pipe near the closed end. There is a mass flow rate exiting the pipe, but no force is applied to the pipe. The fluid dynamics equation is used in many industries. Fluid dynamics equation is used in many industries, and the NASA equation is used by one or perhaps two industries that are mainly run by the state. So here, we are faced with a direct contradiction of what observation and experiment tells us. And while NASA and other institutions tell us, why do people believe NASA? Perhaps they are allegedly the most prominent scientific community and have no other choice. Why do they lie? Like most people, lies are told to collect money. NASA collects taxpayers' money. NASA, like college students, use his money tuition, which was obtained from the parents to party and perhaps buy the girlfriend a new phone, instead of using the money to pay for school.
And there you go.
Oh my God.
I think that's one of the funnest videos I've watched in a dog's age. That
He was
just
all over the
hilarious.
place with these. He's all over the place with the math.
Well,
he has no idea what any of that math means.
Forget all of the math, forget all of the technical details. Just enjoy the fact that when he comes up against a formula, the first thing he does is go,
Oh my God.
I'm going to have to pause that many times to see how tangled up he got things.
he's all over the place, isn't he? I mean, it's just, it's painful. It really is painful. But yeah, that's why I decided yesterday. I thought I won't just criticise it. I'll watch it first and see just how bad it is. And then it was like, yeah, I was right. Well, it's a big steaming pile of shit.
I'm back. Is it finished?
Yes, it's finished.
I like my monitor.
I didn't know you even disappeared, man.
Oh, you didn't hear the banging against the wall? Just stop, please. No.
I rolled back on my chair and crossed my arms so that I couldn't hit anything or myself.
I went into the kitchen and took it out on the flies.
Fair enough. I mean, right from the get-go, he's just wrong on so many counts, and he just carries it on all the way through. And then at the end, he's criticising NASA and how much money they have. I don't care how much money NASA spends. I'm not American.
Yes.
My tax doesn't go towards NASA. I mean, why is he complaining? He is unfortunately in the same country as me. Unfortunately, he's on the same planet as me. Who cares?
Farmers, please don't admit that again, please.
Sorry.
Hello, Stingray.
You're breathing right down your mic.
Yeah, don't do that.
Sorry. I've moved it.
Stingray, have you downloaded the app?
Is it better?
The app? Oh, no, ISS thing. No, I was tracking it on a website instead.
Oh, right. Yeah, it's cool because it's yeah.
Do you know something? There is. I'm really sorry. I'm not being. This is not me being a flat earther, by the way. But I'm incredibly confused by the ISS live feed that's streamed on. Is it space.net? Because it shows you a map, and it doesn't match. The map doesn't match the live feed.
Oh right, I don't know. I don't follow that website.
Well, it's just YouTube space thing. It's just really weird. If I were a flat earther, I'd be there thinking, "Hey, hang about. Something's a bit odd."
There's something delayed or something.
It'd have to be very, very delayed.
Two are not in alignment.
I don't know, but it's just that I was saying because at the moment, if the conditions that we've got now continue into the evening, because it's really very promising right now, then I'm showing a time of 10:33 p.m.
Nice.
So if it carries on like this into the night, then oh hello, Mr. Sensible. I think you said you'd never seen it before, didn't you?
Never, ever. Well, not with my own eyes. No, in my sky. No.
Right. Well, fortunately tonight you should get a damn good chance to see it. It's only a minus 2.3 magnitude, but it will still be bright enough. And if it is clear enough, you will know it's the ISS because it's the only thing moving in the sky like it. So
that fast, yes.
Fingers crossed the clouds don't build up. It's looking very promising.
And would I be able to? I'd be able to record that with a decent
4K camera or something, I'd be able to see it, I guess.
Yeah, you can do
Oh
it.
yeah.
Nice.
I
As
thought
long as you
Spurs
can,
might
as long
like
as you can,
this test for it to try to figure out one day.
as long as you can sort of track it smoothly enough, because once you zoom in, it is moving at a fair rate across the sky, you know. But yeah, no, it fingers crossed tonight. Certainly, if it stays like it is now, I mean, the cloud, if anything, is disappearing. I've got big bits of blue sky here, so you should have too.
I'd love to see. Wait a minute. Wait, let me just write a note on my to-do list, my work to-do list. So what do you say? 10:31.
10:33. I've got a 10:33 to 10:37, and it will come up.
How come there's such a variance? Shouldn't it be kind of really exact?
No, it starts at 10:33.
Oh, right, okay.
And finishes at 10:37. But given the houses I have around me, I probably won't be. I won't see it for the first minute, because the houses get in the way. But yeah, if it stays like it is, you should be able to see it tonight.
Nice.
So that'd be
You
good.
don't have to go out into less light polluted areas, do you? You can just look up and see it.
Well, as long as you haven't got a street light right next to you, no, you should. If you can see the night sky and you can see the stars, you'll see the ISS.
Nice. Okay.
Cool.
Cheers, bud. And
That's
just
all
for
right.
everybody's amusement, I actually don't know why, but does everybody know Good Servant?
I know of him. Yes.
I have the name.
I've got him on Skype, and he sent me a message earlier, about an hour ago.
Yeah.
And it reads, and I've not spoken to him for a long, long time. And it reads, well, the debate is over on all sides now. The Earth is 100% not a sphere in any functional way.
Well, you don't get much more of a positive claim than that, do you?
I know, right?
Well, shows the evidence then.
And to which my response was, well, except in every predictable way in which we use in real life. Besides all of those, you mean? And then I put, what positive evidence do you have for this pancake? and then I put, I dare you to find a flat Earth sundial that doesn't need a rotating planet to work. There's a challenge for you. If the Earth were flat, then all of this, then it would show in all of the sundials. That should be easy, right? And he goes, check out the sundial in India. That can only happen on flat Earth. Too bad it's over. And I went, well, actually, that only works on a globe, as do all sundials. So please look into it. And then I put, wait a minute, this is it. Please look into it. He put, no. And then I put, look, I can prove this easy. Lots of laughter. And he put, no, you can't. You have to include all the Earth motion 11 vectors. And they're like, what? I said, sundials use the sun and our axis and our rotation. No vectors. Please get an education. And he goes, you lose. And I went, if only declaring it made it so, eh? Crack on.
Yes.
Besides, if there are 11 vectors, we could resolve them all into one anyway.
Well, that's Montreal's argument. He keeps bringing up 11 vectors and blah blah blah, and we keep saying to him, "You don't understand vectors, do you?" Oh, it's 11 vectors. That's impossible.
Well,
and like Paul just said, no, we can resolve it down to one vector because that's how vectors work.
Yeah, I ended it with crack on. Stay away from my reality, stroke the reality, please. And then I put, please learn how sundials work. Please, please. Even the one in India. Then have a conversation. Otherwise, it's just ignorance. And then it's gone away. But I just love the way. It's just so amazing. Well, the debate is over on all sides now. The Earth is 100% not a sphere in any functional way. That's amazing.
And yet, bizarrely, an hour and a half ago, when we just watched the launch and was working out whether they'd be able to see it from the ISS was just passing over Egypt. Well, now it's just hit the coastline of Greece.
Nice.
And I can see that on the tracker here. It's now passing over Greece. So give it about another minute, another couple. Well, I reckon about another 3 minutes, and it'll be over the Black Sea. But the Earth is flat, apparently. How does that work, then?
Yeah. Why does that thing keep wobbling around over the flat Earth?
Exactly.
Why wouldn't it be going in a nice straight line like they claim the sun does?
Oh, that's a point. So what I'm going to do with this sundial thing, because I still think it's a brilliant challenge for flat earthers. Find a sundial that works on flat Earth anywhere. And I'm going to do a little demo of how they can't work and how sundials work, I guess, just to show, because I don't think they don't realize the argument.
Well, your sundial's not going to work where I
am. It will if I stick a mirror on it. Yeah, obviously it wouldn't. But yeah, sundial. The sundial argument, I think, is really strong. Please go find me a flat Earth sundial that's been used in history somewhere, because all of the ones that are out there require on an axis of rotation and a bloody planet that's rotating. Well, actually, or geocentrism, one or the other.
Yeah, wrist sundials never took on really very
No.
well.
No, it's over Bulgaria. It's just about to pass the coast, but it's a flat Earth, of course, on a curving trajectory over the Earth. There we go. We're just about to go feet wet.
Farmers.
Yes.
This might be the same for Blue, actually. No, Blue's sort of like mid. Where are you, Blue? In the States?
Tennessee.
Oh, God. I am geographically disabled.
He's trying to work out where Tennessee is in the States.
Yeah, wait a minute.
You know where Atlanta is?
Sorry, say again.
Do you know where Atlanta is?
No, but now I know where Tennessee is, so I'm all right. Yeah, no, we'd see it more. What would be interesting is I might do a few visuals of what the sun would look like from our point of view, farmers in England, and what path it should take on a flat Earth, and what path it should take at the exact moment that I record the video of the path that it takes on a globe rotating Earth, and just see how closely I can, well, not get it to match, but how closely it matches.
Gotcha.
That'd be cool.
Yeah, I'm with you.
That's the point. Who's it? Morton Nielsen. He said if Earth was the... No, sorry, it wasn't him. Someone else said if the Earth was a pizza, it had been eaten by now. Which is true, because it's got pineapples on it.
Oh, that's Brainerd said that, and then Morton said if Earth was pizza, Flers would put pineapple on it.
Yeah.
Well, that means it can't be a pizza because pineapple doesn't belong on pizzas.
Correct.
Oh, Professor Pineapple's going to come in now.
That's proof that it's not a pizza.
I stand firmly with Paul on this. Pizza, pineapple has no place on pizza. End of.
Amen.
And we're now over the Azov Sea, and we're heading towards Rostov-on-Don. There you go. No.
Oh, that's all right.
We are currently at an altitude of 263.74 miles. It just changed, the bastard. And it's doing 4.75 miles per second. They've obviously took the handbrake off.
I just worked out. We are on a pizza. A flat pizza, because there's pineapple on it, and no one eats pizza with pineapple on it.
If the Earth is a blue marble, why isn't it shinier? Because it needs a bit of a polish.
Does that make Jupiter a tombola?
I think I'd have to go with. Oh no, that's a bit geekish. I'm not going to say that.
Oh, go on, say it. It doesn't usually stop you.
I was you are a geek.
I was going to say, well, that would depend on which area of the light spectrum that you're actually looking at, because in various spectrums it would appear very, very shiny.
Yeah.
The lamp would appear very, very shiny. The water would not.
Yeah. If you're at a distance and you're on the sun side of it, Earth would be very shiny.
Oh, they're now waving at Volgograd.
Farmers, isn't there a SpaceX thing? I read something popped up on the news. I glanced at it. Isn't there something to do with their returning?
Oh yes, they are. And I can't remember when, but that is.
I was going to ask it. That was my question. When is that? So I can put that on my work to do list.
Second, is it the 2nd of August?
It's either tomorrow or Sunday, and I can't remember which. I'm hoping it's tomorrow because I'm busy paintballing Sunday. So let's have a look. Typical. There's going to be a Formula One here, and I'm driving away. How does that work?
Clear roads. That's how that road works.
Yeah.
Well, it will actually this time be clear roads because there's no bugger here. Because they're not allowing anybody in, are they?
Oh, I didn't know that. Gee, oh gosh. Yeah. Wow. Oh, that's weird.
Saturday, on August the 1st, NASA astronauts Benken and Hurley will depart from the ISS aboard SpaceX's Dragon Endeavour, starting at 5:15 p.m. Eastern Daily Time for live coverage. So it's going to be late Saturday night, early Sunday morning our time, I guess.
Yeah.
When they come back, and that's going to. I think that's a splashdown as well. I don't think it does anything clever. I think it is a more traditional splashdown.
I don't know if you watch the MotoGP because there's no crowds allowed there, so they don't normally celebrate. Or Rossi actually go onto the podium for ages. So he went to his first place where he went. That was at Jerez. He went to this corner where he always used to do his antics when he used to win races. Got up on the bells, going, "Yay, cheering too." He said, "I know there's no crowd there." He said, "But why break a tradition?"
It's very strange watching him racing around, and the grandstands are empty. There's not a soul inside. But that's going to be the same here. I mean, by now, what we're Thursday. By now, all of the local camping grounds around here will be filling up or will be full.
Yep.
And there's nobody here. And then the same next weekend, there's another Formula One race here next weekend, and there'll be nobody here. Because to start with, when we'd worked out the dates for paintballing, because it's always on the Sunday, and it was like, oh Christ, that Sunday's the first of the Formula One races here. I'm going to have to leave earlier, go around the back roads. And then, of course, the penny dropped. Hang on a minute. Won't be anyone here. It would just be a typical quiet Sunday morning because all of the crews will already be at the race circuit and not letting the general public in to watch. So, it's going to be very bizarre.
They'll be there for a fortnight, so you won't have to worry about congestion.
No, because originally I was thinking, oh Christ, this place is going to be packed solid for 2 weeks because everybody always turns up a few days early because they make either a long weekend or a whole week out of it. Yeah, the campsites are usually starting to fill up on the Wednesday.
I've got better things to spend $3,000 on than spending a weekend at a Formula One race.
Well, I can, if the wind's blowing from the circuit, I can open the window and hear it very clearly and get a damn sight better view of it on my telly. But it is weird hearing it out your window and watching it on the TV at the same time. It's a bit surreal.
Yeah.
But yeah, so. But yeah, we're not getting MotoGP. They're not holding it here this year.
No.
Very disappointing, but there you go.
That is. They might change it. They might have it later.
I've got a question for Blue. Blue, have you seen Ranty's latest efforts at his fish tank stuff?
Oh.
Yeah, I have.
Yeah.
Are you not touching that kind of stuff?
Actually, I may do something with that one just because of the misleading way Randy presents it.
We watched Effie Dogma's thingy on it earlier on.
Yeah.
Oh, what did he say about it?
Oh, well, he did a lot of measurements and showed a whole lot of looming. You should watch it.
Well, I've got a lot of his raw images and then a video of him pouring stuff in from his camera. But it's very interesting that there's a load of images missing, and it's just I can't work out whether he's being dishonest or whether he's just being really stupid.
Could be a bit of both. So did he say that he'd send you all of the raw data over?
No, he sent me. No, he didn't want to send all of them, so I just randomly picked a segment. But I must have randomly picked the worst segment because it was where he was zooming in, zooming out, zooming in, zooming out. And what I wanted to do is get a difference over time to show that it's just all turbulence. You can't actually make any conclusions from it. I'm just wondering if that good servant meant Ranty had proved the Earth was a globe by pouring
he did
sugar into a fish tank.
I don't know.
And this is something they've been criticising for ages. Oh, shining lasers through a fish tank with sugar water, and that doesn't prove anything. And now you got Ranty doing just that. I mean, the hypocrisy is something else.
I don't know if Gary Isle of White's still in the side chat, but we're only talking about this 3 weeks ago.
I think he went off to do some sunbathing, to be honest.
New Isle of Wight road races confirmed next year.
Oh, I saw that, yeah.
Awesome. I was already talking to him about it
he said
3 weeks ago.
He said, right.
Awesome, the track.
He said, I'm going to soak up some race for an hour or so. I'll be back. And that was a little while ago. So I think he's just stepped out, as they say.
Yeah. Grabby Gary, are you eating nuts?
No, chocolate.
Oh, damn it. I missed a bloody trick whilst Casual was here.
Oh yeah, so you did.
Oh, hang on. These are dry roasted peanuts in his honour. So, anyway, I said, it's over Kazakhstan at the moment, and it's just heading towards the Terminator. Oh, these are nice nuts.
Good impersonation, yes.
Yeah.
There we go. How was that? I totally forgot whilst he was here. Damn it. It's a good job he's got a sense of humour, isn't it?
Yeah.
Oh, that's better. Oh, dear. Yes, about another 30 seconds. Let's go across the Terminator 9 north of Urumqi. Fuck knows. I don't know.
Michael Rep just put in the side chat. It just pokes someone with a stick.
Yeah, I like that. Oh dear.
What do you think? I think Skidmark deserves a little attention.
Yes, most definitely.
I mean, he hasn't.
Show him how to edit a video, for God's sake, and read.
Yeah, what was his excuse for the? Let me just have a look. Oh, he just says he rushed it, but I mean, he still posted it on his channel.
Mm-hmm.
You know.
I wonder what the rush was. Parking meter about to expire.
He might have heard how Oliver Lodge made his discoveries and yet got beaten to the punchline, so he didn't want to delay.
Oh yeah, that's a good point. Yeah,
yeah.
I've made this fantastic discovery, but I'm going on holiday. Bugger it. Oh dear.
You get Skidmark, Witless, and Brian's Logic all in one spot. I think you could achieve a critical stupid mass.
Definitely. Oh my
You
Lord.
could probably have a spontaneous stupid reaction.
Oh, hello. Jose and Kimo are talking about that video in Skype.
Oh, Blue, was it you that did a debate with Brian's Logic? It was, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, sort of a debate. I mean, it wasn't a debate, Brian's Logic. The guy doesn't know enough about any subject to be able to debate anything.
You can't argue with stupid, can you?
I don't know what to say to a guy that says I don't believe in buoyancy, but I believe in floating. What?
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
Yeah.
Never argue with a stupid person in public because people onlook and won't know who's the stupid person.
That's absolutely true.
Yeah.
You just entered a pig wrestling contest.
Yeah.
Well, little piggy. And he is. I mean, Brian's logic. I mean, the irony of the name. Oh my lord! You know, and then he wanted to debate both me and Blue. Either or, he weren't fussed. He wanted to debate us on relative density disequilibrium. It's just like, what debate? How do you debate? So it's like saying I want to debate invisible pink unicorns. Yeah, on you go.
How many times did he have to spell his name before he realised he was spelling Brian, not Brain?
Well, just take a look at Moses' photographs. Oh
no!
Just really quickly though, he wants to debate me on Jose's on perspective, and he keeps saying that I don't get his argument. When I articulate his argument with that fucking laser on a sheet of paper, I summarize his argument as parallel lines converge and diverge, therefore it drops below eye level. I think that's his argument.
I think
but he
so,
says
yeah.
that's not. Yeah, but he says you're not understanding my argument. And they're like,
well,
so tell me your argument. Watch the video. And it's like, what the fuck are you trying to say in your video? It doesn't make any sense to me what his argument is about perspective. Kept saying to me, angular size change, things getting smaller, apparently getting smaller, but they're not really getting smaller and rising to eye level. I say, oh, just use perspective. Let's just say perspective. All of that comes under perspective, please. And distance.
Yes.
That's it.
I mean, that's why we refer to angular size, because we know that as things appear to get smaller, and this is the Riley argument. Yeah, Riley made an argument. Let me just find it. That's one of the notes I kept about the 10-foot wall. How tall is a 10-foot wall? The answer to the question is relative. It's not absolute. It depends how far away you are from it, because perspective is a thing.
No.
This is why I keep copies of some of these quotes, because they're so face-palmingly appalling that when you need to quote it, you need to quote it verbatim. That's one of them. This was a video I think was on his old channel, so I think the original video's gone, because his original video channel got took down, didn't it? Or he took it down because Sleeping Warrior was his soccer account. And he made a video about a 10-foot wall is only a 10-foot wall when you're stood in front of it. When it's like 100 feet away, it's not 10 foot tall anymore. It's like, no, it's still a 10-foot wall. It just looks smaller due to perspective. It's further away. It's reduced in angular size. And his whole argument is no, it's not a 10-foot wall anymore because it's further away.
My brain hurts.
Exactly. Well, this is the sort of thing you're supposed to debate against.
Well, let's not debate because it's just you can't argue with nonsense.
Well, that's why I blatantly refuse to debate relative density disequilibrium with him, because it's not a thing. There's no debate to be had.
I got a question for Riley. If that's true, if Riley stands in one place and I walk away from him, will he get smaller and smaller and smaller? And if so, I mean, if I go far enough away, would Riley become small like an ant? And then if I run back to him real fast, can I stomp him like the piss hand he is?
Oh, if only, mate. If only. Unfortunately, when you run back up to him, you'll find that no, he's not this little ant-like thing anymore. No.
So, if you walked away like you were saying, Blue, and he gets smaller and smaller, if I stood behind the wall so you couldn't see me, could I physically watch Anthony get smaller and smaller and smaller then?
That would be good.
Well, according to their arguments, if you get far enough away, you'll go beyond the Rayleigh criteria and you'll actually disappear.
Meow.
Right then, Blue, off you go.
Go find it. Please go find it.
Please make it disappear.
In fact, take about 300 of your friends with you.
Oh dear, oh dear.
I think I must completely misunderstand Brian's argument then, because every time I see him with that laser, he seems to imply in what he's saying that the can, and I'm talking about the specific where he shines a laser on cardboard and he's got a line on the cardboard, and when he moves it away, he says, "Oh, it looks like the laser's going down," but it's not really going down. It's only apparently going down. But I think what he's doing is the laser's actually angled down slightly, so it's moving towards the convergence point. The further away that he gets because of the angle of it, and he says, and I think he either believes this or is just incredibly dishonest. I think he believes that if he walked back, well, I don't think he realizes there's not much logic here when he says it only looks like it's going down. It's not really going down. It stayed at the same level. Great. So go right up to it and take a photo then. And show me that these two photos of the same object look different based on the distance that you are. I'm gonna do that to him. I am gonna have a nice little chat with him on Jose's, I think.
Well, it would seem. Let me just have a look. Jose is going to show Spurs' video this afternoon.
Oh, Jesus.
God.
We'll show it today. I'm going to schedule. So there we go.
Have you, farmers, have you had a lot of helicopter activity around your way?
Not today, no.
We've had Chinooks, Apaches, and various others non-stop for the last month or so.
No, I had a spate. I think last week. That company out Northampton way that's got all the old Spitfires and things. I can never remember what they're bloody called. Out at Sywell. I think I had 3 different Spitfires in one day. Well, and I think they do just because it's local. If they're going to do a test flight or something, they come over Silverstone. So I know 3 completely different birds, 3 different Spitfires in one day. But helicopters, no. I quite often get a brace of Apaches flying over every now and then. Nothing. It's been very quiet.
That's really weird. I never see the Apaches. I always see the huge Chinooks, though, very low level, coming over my place.
Yeah.
It must. I must try and work out, research where these particular flight paths are, because I quite often hear the Chinooks, but they're quite a distance away from me. But the Apaches do seem to fly straight over the village in the race circuit. So maybe they have got their particular.
No, to me, it just looks like they're going straight towards Buckingham. Well, no, in between, I would say a little bit north of Buckingham. That's the direction that they're going to me.
Oh, well, now we're talking to helicopters. I'm sure I can bloody hit one.
Well, this one just flew over me, so you might do. No, I wouldn't have got to you by now. No. But yeah, Chinooks coming out at night, and I noticed one that was coming over our village. Or a town. As it got the other side of the town, it turned its light off, its searchlight off.
Oh.
Which seemed weird.
Oh, no, that's just an ordinary little business chopper. That's nothing. But isn't that weird? As we're talking about helicopters, one flies over. But no, that's bright yellow. Boring. I want the military stuff. They're much more interesting. No, I've not. I've not had them. Not had them at all in the last couple of weeks at least. I mean, hopefully we'll see if we get the Red Arrows on Sunday, because they always put on a good show for the British Grand Prix. But whether they'll do the same thing this year or not, do it this weekend and next weekend, I don't know. Hopefully they'll do it next weekend, because I won't be here to watch it this Sunday. So.
It just seems a lot of military are moving a lot of stuff, which they don't normally do unless something's happening somewhere.
What do you mean, like a training exercise for moving lots of stuff?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Normally we don't see the Apaches.
Yeah, but see, where we are, we don't get an awful lot of military stuff, to be honest.
I just want a US trade deal right now, this second, tomorrow.
What do you want?
I want,
what are you after?
No, I want cheaper Apple products, and I want a Tesla.
You want to win the lottery.
I should have guessed it was going to be bloody Apple. Yeah.
Oh, whoa, Tesla as well.
I know. And Tesla.
Yeah, I'd save more money on the Tesla if we got a bloody trade deal.
Yeah, reduce the import taxes because that's killing this country.
Here's a terrible thing that the Queen gives us. So this is how bad our Queen is. She's like a gangster. This little gangster that takes fucking a cut of everything, even whether she deserves it or not. You know, she decides whether she deserves it and takes a fucking cut. Sorry, really sorry. Takes a cut anyway. But listen to this. So Apple have just they're ditching Intel, yeah, and for developers, they released what you call a transition kit. Now, you don't actually own the hardware. You pay an extra £500 just to get on the transition kit kind of list if you're a developer. But what they do is they send you a computer, the first Mac Mini that's not powered with an Intel chip. It's powered with an ARM CPU, much like you find in iPads. In fact, exactly the same one that you find in an iPad Pro. But the problem is our registered development address is in Sydney, Australia. So it had to go to there, which is fine, absolutely fine. And then we get it priority shipped to me in Buckinghamshire. Fine, awesome. However, the Queen doesn't like this because it was declared to have a value of £500. She wants her 48 quid, even though it's a work item. It's not a purchase import, and the taxable money on it is zero. It would have taken us weeks to sort this out. We just ended up having to give her the 48 quid just to shut her up. She is a little evil bugger sometimes.
Well, you do know that the royal name has a very well-known nickname, don't you?
No.
They're called the Firm.
The Firm.
that is within the inner circles of the royal family. That's what they refer to themselves as. They call themselves the Firm.
Yep.
Are you being serious, or are you just taking the piss?
No, I am being deadly serious.
The
They are called the Firm.
Yeah.
Holy
that gives you a little indication of what these people are like, you know.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, that's been well known for several years. You should read Private Eye.
Yeah, and they'll tell you it's just a meme because it's a bit of fun between us.
Yeah, but it's not.
But it isn't.
Oh, I just did a check for local air bases, military wise. There aren't any around here. That's why it gets so quiet, and that's why but you, Mad, you're still in the area where there are quite a few, aren't there?
Yes, there are quite a few. I mean, so I get to see all the activity in that.
You get to see both the Americans and the British, the RAF. Yeah,
being me dad in the force
out here, they're all either closed down and got houses built on them, or they're communication nodes, like they're down the road from Brackley, or they're depots and things. We don't have much in the way of actual.
No.
I wouldn't have thought the flight paths of these huge Chinooks that come over, and sometimes I've seen 3 in a row, and they're only at 200-300 foot. Sometimes probably even less. And I've recorded them as well with the camera because it does look impressive.
They are impressive beasts, aren't they?
Yeah, but I don't get how you're seeing them because they fly south of me and you're north of me.
Correct. Well, it all depends. I don't get the Chinooks very often, and when they do, they come round. They come round sort of the northwest, the opposite side of the village to you. So the circuit is south of me, and they tend to come round sort of the north side of the village, out in the countryside. But I don't see them very often. I see things like Apaches more often than the Chinooks.
I've never seen an Apache yet.
No?
Much like the ISS, I don't believe it exists.
When they're staring down at you, bowing their helicopter, you appreciate they're on our side.
If you really, really, really want to go and see them, go take a trip across country to Bryce Norton. Because when I worked there, I used to watch things like that all the time. And Apaches have an auto hover facility because there was a storm blowing, and this Apache came in and was playing at our end of the runway, and he'd just sit there and hover, and he'd sort of go to the left, go to the right, go back, go forwards, like he's doing a little dance, and it's blowing a fucking gale out there.
Farmers. I've got 2 drones that do that. That's not that impressive.
What? A 2-man attack helicopter with a chain gun and rocket pods.
Oh no, the helicopter. Wait a minute. I'm not finished with my drones yet. I'll have you know.
Yeah, he don't have pilots.
What sort of weight can they take?
Well, I believe it or not, I've had to give the big one away because I now can no longer legally fly it.
All right.
And I'm not registering. I can't be.
Yeah, register to not. Yeah. No,
you got to get a pilot's license.
Yeah, I'm near it.
Yeah, basically.
Oh, hello. Google Maps have updated RF Bryce Norton. I can now see what I was working on all those years ago. Oh, cool. Well, it kept showing up hard standings. It's like, no, there's a dirty great big hangar we built on there. Oh, and there's the Dakota. Huh.
What, DC3?
Yes, they where our offices were, we were building a hangar come warehouse for the what squadron was it? I can't remember now. But they basically, they move cargo and stuff, and they have got parked outside their hangar an old Dakota painted up in the Normandy invasion colours, because you can see in Google Aerial you can see the invasion stripes on this Dakota.
Wow,
cool. Yes.
Do you ever go to Cranfield to watch it when they take the Lightning down the runway? They stopped doing it now.
Yeah, I haven't made it. Who was doing that with the Vulcan? They were doing something with the Vulcan. But...
Yeah, the Lightning though is just an amazing thing. It's fantastic.
Yeah, it's hell of a bit of kit. That is all up to date. There's the new hangar we built for the Airbus 400s at a time when they didn't have the Airbus 400s, and they put a pair of Hercules inside, and it looked ridiculous. Looked like you got 2 Matchbox toys inside a hangar. Anyway. Where's the ISS now? I've lost the ISS. Oh, there it is. It's approaching the Solomon Islands.
Oh, I'll have to book a place at Gary Harlow White's house and go to watch the races.
Yeah,
that'd be cool.
Yeah,
that's my holiday booked. He doesn't know it yet, but that's booked.
Oh, nice one, Microraptor. The Earth. It's only a model.
I've given SE Montreal the Sundial challenge.
I'd give SE Montreal the tying your own shoelaces challenge, because I don't think he can.
Do you not think he'll be able to figure out how sundials work?
Based on his questions about his photography of the sun at the moment, no, probably not.
No, they wouldn't even be able to set it up so it faces the right direction.
No.
No, it doesn't work. It's not showing the right time.
No.
You know what it'll be?
Yeah,
and then you'll have a little 10-year-old come into the video shot and go, "You ain't got it facing north, mate." And just turns it around and walks off.
No, I think they'll do what they do with everything else, like the equatorial mount. It works on the flat Earth because here, look, I set it up and it works. And I think I'm on the flat Earth, so ergo, it works on the flat Earth. I'm sure that's how they actually do it.
Yeah, that's how they think. Yeah.
I think the Earth is flat. This thing works, therefore it works on the flat Earth. Boom, job done. Thank you very much and good night. I don't know. He's He's particularly gormless, that one.
He seemed to accept. He had a problem with the foreshortening effect on the Lake Pontchartrain bridge, and I went through that with him, and he seemed to kind of accept what I was saying at the end when I showed him it.
Yeah, but how many times have we explained to him about why we have an atmosphere and an atmospheric gradient? How many times have we explained to him about the difference between open, closed, and isolated systems? The whole 11 vectors nonsense. If you added them all up together, he must have had these things explained to him at least, and I'm not exaggerating, 200 times. And he still parrots the same old shit in the side chat every day, like a nervous reflex. Ask him a question, he'll say, 11 vectors, you know, like he can't help it. Like somebody else goes, or, you know what I mean? He says, 11 vectors, you know, gas pressure without a container next to a vacuum. I think it's a nervous twitch.
Wait a minute. What are the 11 vectors?
Christ.
No.
Okay.
11. What are the 11?
Right. You've got the Earth's rotation on its axis. That's one. You've then got the Earth orbiting the Sun.
2.
You've then got the movement of the Sun within the galaxy.
3.
You then got the movement of the galaxy within whatever you want to term it, space.
4.
So
he did a math problem here.
No, he did list them all. It's just that I can't remember them because at the end of the day, it all comes down to one vector, doesn't it? That and the fact that they're all constant speeds, so we don't feel it anyway. Oh, here we go. Microraptor's trying to come then, right, Microraptor. You're the one for the job. Yeah, you got the axis, the sun, the galaxy. Okay, local group, yeah, probably. I'm sure somewhere in there you'll have the expansion of the universe. He did have it because he said when he first kept repeating it, and people ask him what are these vectors, and he'd go, "Hang on a minute, I've got it written down somewhere," and you could picture him, "Oh, this scrap of paper here somewhere, blah blah blah," and he'd rattle them all off. But what he doesn't understand is that when you have all of these vectors and you can get them down just to one vector. There you go. Vector equals vector 1 and vector 2 and so on and so forth, blah, blah. Yeah. When you get to the sum of vectors that gives you a vector, you've got the movement of the Earth, and it's not accelerating or decelerating to any degree that you'd notice it. That's why we don't feel the movement of the Earth. That's why you can walk down an airliner that's doing 500 miles an hour without spilling your drink.
Well, no, there's a caveat. That depends how much I've been drinking to begin with.
Okay, yeah, but that's not due to the movement of the aircraft. That's due to the wobbliness of your legs, due to the inebriation of your brain.
Relative to me, that aircraft and everybody else in it is moving as I'm walking down crookedly down the aisle. I've been drinking too much, so
that's because you're pissed.
By the way, for everybody's information, I actually don't drink, so that wouldn't.
No, I was going to say you don't drink, do you? So it must be something else then that's affected your coordination.
The world's spinning too fast. I'm dizzy, officer.
There has been a few times in the past where I've sat in a very busy office and said, could somebody stop the Earth? I'd like to get off. If only for a few minutes. I've had enough. I give up. Stop the world. I want to get off.
I just pull a parachute and you just go poof.
However, there was one famous moment when I was being pulled from pillar to post and being expected to do a dozen things at once. And my boss came in and asked me to do something else. And I said, fine. And I'll shove a broom up my ass and sweep the floor at the same time then. And he just stood there as if I'd grown another head and went, what? And I think somebody else said, best you leave. He's about to get violent, I think, by the look on his face.
Yeah, Microraptors put alcohol vector equals 0. All vectors equal floor.
Yeah. Yes, I have experienced that from time to time. Yes.
You know when you've had too much to drink is when you're holding on to your lawn, making sure that you don't get flung off by the speed of the world. It's spinning too fast. I'm holding on for dear life.
How's the Cavendish thing going, Blue?
Yeah, coming along. I bought some weights for it this morning, small ones anyway.
What, made out of gold?
Nope, they're made out of lead, but I'm going to do an experiment, see if I can turn them into gold. Well,
Nice. that alchemy. If there's anybody that can crack that alchemy shit, it's you, Blue. Go for it.
I might paint 2 of them gold just for the hell of it. That would be fun.
How long before you actually do the experiment, though? Have you got an idea?
I think probably another month, maybe more. I don't know.
Cool.
A lot of them. I still got a lot of.
Can I show a picture for him, Blue?
Sure.
Now I'm going to have to walk away from cooking beef to run back to a computer. Damn it.
Yeah, don't put the apple in the oven and try to eat the raw beef. That just,
oh, wow.
No, there it is. Got to put a little window there in the bottom center so I can see the center of the torsion beam and the little mirror that will be on it so I can shine a laser on that. But you can see the little window on the right-hand end of it. That's where I can look in and see the actual scale that's going to be a replica of what Cavendish used. Nice. There's one on the other side, too. The only thing that's missing is the center support. There's a slot up underneath the bottom of that thing. I've got to make a little 18-inch long support bar. You can see the little lug sticking out on the right-hand side there. A little white looking. Made it out of maple. So it's supported from 4 points. 2 on it, 1 at each end, and then that bar that runs across the center. So it'll have 4 points of suspension. And I've got threaded, there that little thing is. I've got little threaded inserts that go in there. Put little quarter 20 thumb screw things in it. You got to be able to level the thing perfectly. That's how that'll work. Now I just got to go do a lot of little cleanup stuff to it.
Quick thank you to Professor Pineapple and Alien for your super chat. Thank you.
Yeah, it's coming along.
Can I come and use your workshop, Blue? I can't get into mine. Yours is so much
Right now, I've got to go out there and I think I got to go clean mine up before I do anything else. I got way too many tools laying out on that bench. Some of them are sharp too.
Yeah, probably best put away. Can't fix it if you got no fingers.
I've done pretty good on this job, this project. I haven't lost a whole lot of blood yet. I have left some DNA on it, though. There's no two ways about that.
Well, you're all right if you just don't use it to kill anyone, I guess.
What are you actually going to do once you finish your experiment and everything? Are you going to keep it or are you going to donate it?
I would love to donate it. I have no use for it after I finish the experiment, but
you'd like to have the room back again.
Yeah. Right now, the thing's not using up any room. Whether you see the rest of the ship that goes around it, that's when it's going to start using up space. I'm going to have to move the workbench, and I'm going to have to do a lot of moving around out there just to make room for the whole thing.
It's just sort of one small part of it, really, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's a 5 foot by 5 foot by 7 foot tall structure that goes around that thing. It has to be there to support those 75-pound lead weights. That's going to be interesting.
Can't wait to, how long you got to leave it set to actually measure the movement? Is it months or weeks?
Nah. I don't know. We'll find out. I think it will certainly take a period of hours for it to, settle down in one position. And I don't know. I could see taking measurements from this thing over a period of 2 or 3 weeks anyway.
Oh, cool. That'd be interesting. Can't wait for that.
Blue, are you manually going to oscillate it then by changing the attracting weight to show that is the case?
Yeah, when you move the weights from either the neutral position or from one side to the other, that will set up the oscillation. The torsion balance, the torsion beam itself will accelerate toward the larger mass, but it will overshoot. And then the torque in the torsion wire will pull it back, and it'll overshoot that way.
Yeah. But I mean, are you going to perform the same thing, but having the start point opposing to show that it doesn't matter where these weights are? It's just I can imagine it might be a good idea to sort of like ask on Jose's or your own channel for suggestions from flat earthers to say what would you like to see? What are your conditions and all that kind of stuff?
There's a comment from Alien Moon for you, Stingray.
Oh yeah.
You see it? It should be right across the bottom of the thing.
Oh yeah. Okay. Let
Push
this Stingray. Oh, nice. Pussytrons.
You had this one.
I do understand what you're saying, Stingray, and yeah, the one thing I refuse to do is let those guys play fetch with me. I'm not going to go there. At the end of the day, we're going to do this experiment the way Cavendish did it, and if that upsets them for some reason or the other, they'll just have to be upset.
Fair play.
Because at the end of the day, I don't really give a damn what they think. I'm not doing it for them anyway.
Hi, Glober Mom.
Hello, Glober Mom.
And you can bet that no matter what, they're going to deny it. No matter what, they can always come up with some other objection.
They usually do, unfortunately. Amazing how many ways you can deny reality.
Yeah.
That's what it boils down to. When you reduce all those vectors down to one, the vector is nuh-uh.
Yeah.
Why didn't you try tungsten? Why didn't you try uranium?
Oh my God, that Ham, whatever his bloke's name is, what Terry's put in his other
Hans Wormhat.
That him, he reckons uranium is safe to eat. You can eat it and it won't affect you. I'm going to buy him some so he can eat it live on camera.
You might want to be careful trying to buy uranium, particularly if you do it online.
I use his name, not mine.
Oh, that's all right.
Anyone want to hazard a guess what this device does?
Yeah.
I'm in the kitchen, but I'm going to say it finds uranium.
A good guess given what we're talking about, but no.
Damn it!
Does it make a screw or something?
You're wrong. You're wrong.
A Geiger counter.
I know. Yeah, we know. Some people don't know.
I'm coming back now. I want to proper go at it. Let's have a look.
Okay. See if
Right,
Dean can
I'm
figure it
back.
out.
I'm back. Huh. Huh.
Yeah.
Yeah. Hi, Microraptor.
Well, it's in that picture too, but that's what it looks like closer up.
Is it to control? Oh, right. Oh, this. Oh, okay. So this is what it hangs from, is it?
Yeah.
You want me to go back to the other picture?
Yeah,
there it is.
yeah.
I can see it. I can see it now.
Right. Okay. It's very important. I think it's one of the most important pieces.
Yep. Got to find that uranium.
Hold the torsion wire.
Yeah, it's the adjuster that allows me that will allow us to control the position of the neutral position of the torsion balance. Get it in the center. So it's like a worm drive, about a 200-to-1 ratio worm drive. You only have to move that torsion beam 5 degrees from all the way from one side of the box to the other is 5 degrees, less than 5.
Yeah.
So it takes a very fine adjustment to be able to get that thing centered.
The very gentlest of touches.
Yep.
Did you make that, Blue?
No, I did not. My buddy Lefty made it. 2 left thumbs.
That's a nice little bit of engineering, that.
That is, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's well cool.
Yeah.
I designed the thing, and then Lefty fixed it and made it work.
So you designed it, he redesigned it.
No, I do. Have I got the picture of the other one, Blue?
Yeah, absolutely.
Not that one, the other one.
I don't know if we got the other one.
What did I do with the other one?
No.
I used to do that with boiler rooms. I used to carefully design boiler rooms and show where all the pipe and the bends and the flanges and everything were. And the guy downstairs who was welding it up actually made it work. And after long enough, the two sort of meet in the middle.
I was quite proud of Lefty. I have to say, the part he made doesn't look a damn thing like the drawing I gave him.
Yeah, sometimes my plant rooms didn't, but that's only because my boss had come along and said, "Hey, I'll put that in there." And I'd come along and say, "What the bloody hell's this doing in here?" Well, Harry said it needed to be in here. Well, he's a prat. Take it out. He's wrong.
There's a story behind that, and actually, I said this in one of the videos I made. I looked at the commercially available the Cavendish experiments that come from like Pasco, and what they use up there is essentially an O-ring. They've got a large wheel where that wheel is, only a much bigger one, and then a little small wheel where that post is that the screw thing is mounted to.
Yep.
Little small wheels, little small shaft up there. They just wrap an O-ring around it.
Oh,
and
right. Yeah.
And use that to turn it. It seemed fairly simple, straightforward. Only when Lefty built it, it didn't seem to have enough gear ratio to it in the first place. Secondly, it just didn't. It wasn't suiting either one of us. And Lefty said, "What if I make a worm drive?" And I said, "Well, good luck, because I don't know how to design a worm gear. I mean, I've never done one, and I don't know enough about it." And he said, "Oh yeah, I can take care of that." Well, about 6 hours later, he sent me a picture of this thing. I said, "Oh shit!" Oh yeah, yep.
Is this what you want, Blue?
And Blue said, "That's exactly what I had in mind. You read my mind, spot on." Yeah, that's what I meant. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly like that.
Exactly like that.
We can't find any details of what Cavendish used, but what the sketch that you can find in his paper would give you to believe that he probably had some kind of worm gear. So I think we're probably pretty true to the original intent anyway.
Yeah.
But yeah, sometimes it's a really good thing when the part they make doesn't look like you're drawing. This is one of those times.
Yeah, sometimes, and then sometimes it's just like, did you have the drawing upside down? Have you been looking at a totally different drawing? I mean, what the hell's going on? Yeah, my guy's excuse. Well, I couldn't quite read it because so many people are trodden on the drawing. Yeah, well, don't put the drawings on the factory floor. You know. That was always the running joke. They'd ask you to come down and have a look at it. Oh, we've got a problem with this plant room. Okay, so you come down from the office onto the factory floor, and you go, okay, where are the drawings? And when all the heads drop and start looking at the floor, you think, oh shit. I mean, usually they get to the point where you've built something that's sufficiently high enough that you can take the drawings to a wall or a bit of steel or something, so it's safe and out of the way. But when all heads look to the floor and there's crap lying everywhere, you think, "Oh shit, here we go. Shall I just go and print a new drawing off?" You know.
That used to drive me crazy is they'd make up their own names for things. You know.
Yeah. Yeah.
You design something and you call it whatever you call it, and then the guys out in the shop turn around and rename everything. And hey, can you come down and take a look at the Gazzetta? It's not matched up to the Gazzetta. And what the hell are you talking about? There's no Gazzetta on the.
Oh yeah, I used to get that with some of them because it's a problem with this commissioning set. That's not a commissioning set. That's a butterfly valve. What's the difference? This size pipe about 0.5 meter. Well, it's just a valve. No, it isn't just a valve. They're all bloody different. And yeah, a butterfly valve is barely an inch thick. A commissioning set is nearly 0.5 meter long. There's a difference, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah. Bless them.
Best of luck fixing that to a 1/2 inch pipe.
Oh, yeah. Well, a lot of the time we were talking sort of 4 and 6 inch lengths of pipe. And there are little things you need to know. If you're putting a commissioning set in a pipe, this thing is measuring the flow of the water, which means you've got to have a straight length of pipe before it, and you've got to have a straight length of pipe after it, so that the flow of the water is nice and smooth and non-turbulent. And the number of times you say, well, what if we stick it here straight after this bend? No, you can't. What do you mean? No, you just can't do it because it won't work. That's why I've had to loop this pipe out here so there's a long straight enough bit that you can put this epoxy valve in it. Oh, I thought I was improving it. No, just build it as I bloody drew it. That's why I get paid all this money to design this stuff. Oh. Having said that, I could design it, but don't ask me to weld it because I can't weld. You know, you stick to what you know, stick to what you can do.
Yeah.
But the number of these guys who thought they were experts at designing these things, it's like, no, I don't just pull this out of thin air. I do these things for a reason. I'll do the designing, you do the welding. Because you can't design and I can't weld. Not that's any good anyway. It tends to have a certain bird shit quality to it.
You're very critical of your own designs there, though, if you're saying stuff like that.
No, I'm not critical of my designs, but my welding, ye gods. Although, in fairness, when I was growing up, the only arc welder I had was my dad's 3-phase oil-cooled arc welder. I used to it's more like a bloody lightsaber. Christ,
no, it's nice because they're cool. Yeah, nice smooth current.
Yeah, no, it's like plastering. You know, obviously, I've spent all of my life in the building trade. I've watched people plastering. Yep. If I want plastering done, I'll pay somebody to do it because I can't do that.
Like one of them walls they have in like Spain on the outside, you know, all different layers.
Well, I mean, I have tried. I've tried a little bit of plastering before, and first off, it was too dry, then it was too wet. And when you watch these guys, and obviously somebody's mixed all the plaster up, and they just slop it on, they go done, and it's like, yeah, Christ, that's as smooth as a sheet of paper. How did you do that? But at the same time, I've had people come up to me and ask me to do something on the drawing on screen, and you sort of go tippy tap, right, there you go, and I go, but how? What did you just do? Oh, about a dozen different commands. What? But I barely saw your fingers move. Yeah, and
yeah. Oh, it's the always find it always tickles me. Is it MI5 or MI6? Head of the secret, top secret job or whatever it is, just been announced who's got it.
Yeah.
Right, and they give his name. And this is for the top secret place that we don't know exists. I think that's hilarious. MI5 or MI6, I can't remember, but there's a new person been appointed as
the chief spook, and here they are, Sir Whatever. Da, da, da.
But of course, they don't exist down at Street, whatever it is in London. No, they don't exist there. I just find it really weird that to announce the new head honcho of a secret organisation.
Well, yeah, but it does work the other way. Yeah, pay attention to this person, and you're not seeing the hundreds of people that you don't know about who are actually doing the work.
This guy knows nothing. He's just,
What they should say is, if MI6 exists, this person would be the head honcho.
Just blatantly announce it on live on news streams. And I just find that really hilarious. Yeah. It's a bit like Top Gear when they used to say a top secret racetrack at so and so and so and so just off the A34. That wouldn't surprise me if MI6 had got a big red X on its roof so that they know where it is to land.
Which is the one it's that fancy office block on the Thames? Is it MI5 or MI6? It's one or the other. The one that gets blown up in the Bond film.
Yeah,
because that is it's I can't remember which of the branches it is, but that is their headquarters.
Yeah,
I think it's 6.
Yeah.
I'm not sure.
Sure it is.
Yeah, but that is genuinely their headquarters building.
Yeah,
you know, they're not hiding it. It's like, here we are, here it is. Done.
I find it really funny. No, MI6 doesn't exist, but that's their building over there.
Or, gentlemen and ladies, I put it to you that that's what you're supposed to think.
There you go. You see, yeah. There's an awful lot of stuff goes around in plain sight that nobody sees and nobody knows.
What you don't realise is the 12 McDonald's surrounding that is actually their headquarters, and they're all in there as that. And you guys are completely on the wrong track, and that was the plan all along. I'll have a burger and fries, please.
Is that code 26 or 24?
I'll have a burger and fries, and the swallow flies south into winter. Say no more. Nudge, nudge, wink, wink, grin, grin.
I knew Monty's had to come in there sometime.
Well, I'm trying to think what the bloody code words were for the just prior to the D-Day invasion, they did actually make those radio broadcasts to the French resistance, and it was excerpts from a poem, and each particular sentence was like a command for a particular group of the French resistance. I'm desperately trying to remember what the bloody poem was, because it was broadcast on open air and everybody would hear it, but only certain people would understand certain phrases from this poem or something.
Yeah,
it was in one of the films. I don't know whether it was in. I think it was in The Longest Day.
Yeah, it's chief engineer from Ferrari when he was talking to Berger, Gerhard Berger. I can't remember who the guy was. He went, "Alonso is faster than you."
Oh, yes.
That
was back in the days when they weren't allowed to have team orders.
Team orders, yeah. Alonso is faster than you. Do you understand what I'm saying? Just so blatantly obvious.
Yeah, well, of course, now they do things like, go to program or whatever, or go to setting something or other, and
yeah. So you don't really know what they're doing. Yeah.
Here it is. I think I found it. It was from a Paul Verlaine poem, and it had things like, "When a sighing begins in the violins of the autumn song. My heart is drowned in the slow sound languorous, and long. And these were all code phrases for the French resistance.
What, to run?
No, to do things like, right, yeah, this particular group, right, your job is to go and blow up that railroad. You know, your job is to go and blow this up. Your job is to go and do that. Because obviously this was all the stuff that they were doing prior to the actual landing. I mean, there was so much of D-Day actually happened before the landings that everybody's seen in films and in photos and everything. You know, all the troops landed on the beach, but by then there were paratroopers scattered all through Normandy. The French resistance were blowing up railway lines and all sorts of things to stop the Germans bringing in reinforcements. And the invasion had actually started hours ago. Just hadn't got around to landing troops on the beach yet. But yeah, they could say it over open radio because the theory was that the only people who would understand it is the people who are waiting to hear these particular phrases. I mean, that whole thing was deception. You know, Hitler and the generals were convinced we were going to land at Calais because that's the shortest possible crossing point of the Channel. And all of those inflatable tanks and inflatable aircraft all around the Dover area.
Well, I have to go work on my super secret Cavendish project.
Don't. People will know.
Quiet, Blue. Somebody could be listening in, you know.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, I'm not supposed to talk about it, but it's actually a project that's been commissioned by a conglomerate group made up of some of your people. They call themselves MI56, okay? And this thing is not really Cavendish. It's a butt reamer to be used on Riley.
You need a bigger one. You're going to need a bigger Cavendish experiment.
Yeah.
Yeah, you know that bit where he says you're going to need a bigger boat?
This is just the prototype.
Oh, dear.
So I got to go out and sharpen the pointy end of it a little bit more.
The local shipyard building the full-size one.
We've been streaming for over 3 hours now. I think it might be.
Oh, yeah, 3.5 hours. Yeah.
Cool.
So, thank you.
You're not trying to beat me, Pip.
No, oh God, no. I've got things to do later. I've got dinner tonight and I've got a meeting. So.
Yeah.
Yes, you guys take care. I'll see you later.
Thanks for coming.
Yeah, take care.
Bye.
All right, I think we're going to wrap it up now. Thank you, everyone, for coming in.
Well, thank you for giving us a heads up. It's been most entertaining.
Yeah. Relaxing.
Thank you for what you were told, farmers.
I just loved it. There's a link, and it just said now.
And I forget to put a time. I thought, I'll just put now.
No, that's fine. I can work with that. Do she told? Righto. Oh dear.
All right. So thank you all again, and I'll see you around somewhere. Bye to the chat. We can't call
Bye,
them
chat.
They're pipsqueaks in here, Terry.
Yeah.
Oh yes. Bye, pipsqueaks.
Oh, pipsqueaks. It's pipsqueaks, are they? Okay.
Yep. Bye, pipsqueaks.
We'll see you over in Jose's in about half an hour.
Plus 9 minutes to let Spurs get his crap out the road, and then we'll go.
Oh, we get to see it again, do we?
Oh yeah. And this time you'll get to see all the support he gets in the side chat from all of the idiots.
And with that, we're out, guys.
Hey.